send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. It's Monday at 3 o'clock, and you know what that means? Landscaping starts around the windows of the WING studios, so you will hear our grass being cut in the rain, might have you. Here today. I mean, all that time earlier today to cut the grass outside. And they're like, oh, what time's Kinner and Kev show start? 3 o'clock. That's perfect. We will disrupt their show with our loud mowers and our weed eaters and our blowers. And so there we are. So we welcome you, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, and the landscapers. Welcome you out of a big weekend. And Kev, how was your weekend?
Solid weekend, man. Weather was good. Got out to a couple concerts over the weekend. One over there at the Rose, Keith Sweat. Who else was out there? Silk and Genuine went to that concert on Friday. Had a couple events on Hot 102.9. Being out and about, being back amongst the people, you know, a couple back to school events going on. Did a little bit of shopping on tax-free weekend. So I was active this weekend, man. So I went to a Reds game yesterday. Actually, you know, they're only an hour away. I tell myself all the time, we're going to go to a lot more Reds games, and we rarely go to them, and I have no clue why, but we were able to go yesterday. I witnessed something I have never witnessed before live. It was amazing. Every time I go, whether it's an NBA game, a Major League Baseball game, NFL, my goal when I'm going there is, even if it might be against my team, I want to see something I've never seen before, whether it's a no-hitter, a guy dropping 60 or 70 points, maybe a running back going off for 300 yards or even 200 yards. I want to see something that you don't normally see. And yesterday at the Reds game, I got to see something that I have never witnessed live, and it never happens. Ever. I mean, it's rare. Bigfoot has been spotted more times than what I got the glory of witnessing yesterday live at Great American Ballpark. David Bell let a starting pitcher go 7 innings, Kev. It was beautiful. Oh, my gosh, it was beautiful. It was so old school. I wanted to get out my newspaper and read it. I wanted to not check the weather on my app, but watch the news to find out 20 times throughout the broadcast what the weather's going to be. I mean, it was so old school. It was so beautiful, and they brought a tear to my eye because I don't know when I'm going to see that again. I mean, David Bell is going to probably tonight let the starter go 2 and let the bullpen take care of the rest. But no, the Reds 10 games above 500, but it was a beautiful day for a game. Actually, it was hot as hell. Let's just face it. It was hot as hell. That's the thing too. So Nora refused, like she told me yesterday, don't take me to a game during the day anymore. Like she's over it. I love her to death. And I told her, I was like, you're acting like a child right now. She's throwing her arms around her legs. She's like, I just want to go. Fine, we can go. We left. What inning?
Seventh inning stretch, which, you know what, to be honest,
that's
wasn't
what most
a bad
people leave.
We bolted because of traffic as well. And, it was the Pirates. So, but no, it was interesting. So she has demanded that we don't go during the day anymore. And I said, I usually agree with that. I don't like going to day games at all for that very reason. But nonetheless, it was cool watch. It has to be worth it. And it was worth it. So there you go. The Reds 10 games above 500, 5 games back of the NL Central, 2.5 games back of the wild card. What the hell's happening? And the question I have is, are the Reds playing well or not? Now, that sounds like a really stupid question when you look at the run that the Reds are recently on. I mean, right now they are soaring. And the reason I ask is because I have not heard anybody say that, man, I cannot wait for the Cincinnati Reds second half of the season because they're so good. And the reason I bring this up, and we've talked about it in the past, all I keep hearing people say is, man, can we play the Pirates more? Can we play the Pirates more? And the problem I have with that is I'm not hearing people talk about what's good about this Reds team. All I keep hearing people say is, thank God we play the Pirates 10 more times. Thank God we got the Marlins 4 times coming up. Thank God we got the Cubs who just blew up their whole roster. My question is we don't talk about Ohio State like that. We don't say, oh, thank God we got Miami of Ohio on the schedule. Man, it's going to be a long. We don't do that. We say,
we want Bama.
We want Bama. Yeah. Where is that? Where are the Reds saying we want the Brewers? No one says we want the Brewers, because even though we've watched the Reds have success against the Brewers, no one wants the Brewers. And that right there is a sign of a fan base who doesn't believe or trust in their team. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but I guess I'm asking the Reds fans to help us out here because, Kev, I don't think like that in any other sport. If you have to rely on playing bad teams to feel good about your team, then maybe your team's not as good as you think. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm saying all of that knowing that this team has Jesse Winker, this team has Jonathan India, this team has Nick Castellanos, and Joey Votto is Joey Votto of old and no longer old Joey Votto. They are lights out. Tyler Mahle pitched 7 innings yesterday. It was a beautiful sight to see. This team is rolling. But is it a result of playing bad teams, or is it that they are that good? I will say it's tough for good teams to get sweeps. All right. It's tough for good teams to sweep bad teams, and the Reds have 4 games swept opponents twice this year. 8 of their 51 or 59 wins, or whatever the heck it is that they have come within 4-game sweeps of an opponent. So I say all of that. And 518-1410, that's the number to call in, 518-1410. Reds, feel good about what we're watching. Okay, I'm not trying to water down what the Reds are doing. I'm just frustrated with the mindset of you Reds fans continuously throwing the Reds schedule in my face. That's a weak move. That's very weak. That's not screaming, man, we have a high-powered offense. That's, man, we play bad teams. And that's not cool. That's not something to feel good about. Because what you're telling me is, the journey to the playoffs is going to be more enjoyable than the playoffs themselves because we are convincing ourselves that this team doesn't stand a chance against good teams. 518-1410, one more time, 518-1410. We're also live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. I want to hear from you. By the way, the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Subscribe, follow along, watch live, and jump in the comment section. I just want to throw this out there one more time. Absolutely. I'm not throwing shade on what the Reds are doing because this is a blast for me to watch this, but I'm tired of hearing people say, man, can we play the Pirates every game? No. What I want to hear is bring on the Brewers. Bring on the Astros, bring on, the Rays or whoever the hell's dominating in the American League right now. And to be honest, maybe a lot of you are saying, well, actually, I don't want them to bring on the Dodgers or the Padres or those teams. Then if you're saying that, your team's not as good as what you think. And that's what I'm asking. 518-1410. Kev, who we got? We got Clayton. Clayton, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment kind of on the Reds schedule and whatnot. As a Reds fan, I personally don't think we're trying to dodge not playing the Brewers, but I think with getting a full roster back and more weapons and reloading and having to push to play sub-500, make a run for the playoffs and kind of get our team to gel better is the angle that I take at it, I think that's why I'm excited about having a sub-500 schedule coming up and a bunch of opponents that we play. It gives us a chance to really make that push and get our team where it needs to be.
No, and that's very fair. And I was trying to think of a way to do this without trying to discredit what the Reds are doing. But what was your name again? I'm sorry, I didn't write Clayton. So Clayton, what are your other teams? Are you a Buckeye fan?
I'm a Buckeye fan. I'm a Reds fan. I'm a Bengals fan.
Okay, so let's use the Buckeyes for example. So Ohio State, we get mad when they play bad teams, right? Like we don't like when they play bad teams. We want to see them go up against the Penn States. We want to see them dominate the Wisconsins and then the Bamas and so forth come playoff time. It's just like when that's an example of having true confidence in your team that our team can go up against anybody. I don't get that vibe with the Reds. I keep hearing bring on the Miami of Ohio's approach from Reds fans, and that's all. But you do bring a good point, is using this as an opportunity while some of the good teams are playing, tougher opponents. We could take advantage of that. That's a perk. Yes, absolutely. But I've yet to hear someone who is adamantly confident in the strength of this Reds team. And that's the point I'm just trying to mention here.
Yeah, I totally get that. I appreciate the call. Thanks a lot. And go Reds. Go Reds.
I like it. Clayton, thank you so much. I appreciate it. 518.
Yeah, thank you.
518-1410 is the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So Clayton brings up a great point. Clayton brings up the fact that, he's excited that the Reds are dominating right now, all while taking advantage of a weaker schedule to allow them to get more in sync. And last thing on this part, one more example. It is fun watching the Reds score all these runs. It's fun watching their pitchers have success. It's fun watching David Bell win games so that I don't have to make this the I hate the Cincinnati Bengals and David Bell 3-hour show every single day. But at the end of the day, if I use the same logic that I use for the Buckeyes, if I use the same logic that I use for the Browns, I have to use that same logic here. And what I mean by the Browns, last year, Kev, I felt like I watched the Browns win 12 games in the regular season, and I kept convincing myself that the wins weren't good. I had a hard time buying in big picture. I kept saying, yeah, again, you were having to talk me off the ledge at times, which is funny. But like when they beat the Steelers in the last game of the regular season, they had all their starters. The Steelers did not. They barely beat the Steelers. Browns fans are losing their mind. And I'm like, oh, man, we barely beat the Steelers backups. And now we got to go play at Pittsburgh in the first round of the playoffs. Holy smokes. Like, that's what I kept doing. I never felt good. But it seems like Reds fans continuously do this thing where it doesn't matter if they play a AAA team. If they beat a AAA team, they're like, man, keep on bringing these AAA teams on. We don't care. And that's all. That's my approach to things is, okay, there are good wins. Like, there's good and bad losses. There's also good and bad wins. It's been a while since I felt like the last good wins, stretch of wins that the Reds had was against the Brewers after the close out the first half of the regular season. The Mets are imploding right now. Right. So I thought that was a good series win. And it might look better down the road, but for right now, it doesn't feel as special. The Cubs, they were mentally checked out. There was an emotional series where you're watching Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo and guys like that walk along the ivy in the outfield at Wrigley Field, bidding farewell after all of the memories, including a World Series over Kev's team. You know what I'm saying? So like they weren't facing the Chris Bryant-led Cubs. They were mentally checked out. So I'm being that guy that's raining on everyone's parade, but at the same time, I want to know when we're going to get to the point where we pump our chest about the Reds instead of pumping our chest about who the Reds are playing. Because right now, I'm tired of the loser mentality of, can we play the Pirates every game? No. If you're my thing is, man, we dominated Miami of Ohio. I can't wait to see what they do against Oregon. Like who they open? Oh, Minnesota. Is it Minnesota and then Oregon?
Minnesota, Oregon. Yep.
So, man, that's a prime. I mean, Minnesota, that's, so if they dominate Minnesota, I'm going to be like, man, they did that to Minnesota. Good, average team, but, man, I can't wait to see what they do against Oregon. There's always those standard teams. And I just feel like we're not doing that with the Reds. That's all.
For the Reds, if I'm a Reds fan, this would be my perspective. And it's cliche Kev time. You can only beat who's in front of you. You can only play the team that you play that night. And if you're handling business versus a sub 500 team, as you're supposed to do, things will fall in your favor. As people have been pointing out, I don't know how long, probably since the second half of the season started, that the Brewers have a tough back end of the schedule. They currently lost 2 games in a row, while the Reds have won 5 games in a row. So now they have gained traction in the NL Central. So for me, if I was a Reds fan, I would just be banking on that. Like, hey, we worry about our business. We're not going to worry about what other teams have to do. If we go out there and play the baseball we're supposed to play and take 3 or 4 or 2 or 3, then we'll be in prime position to make a play down the back stretch of the season. But if we get greedy like they've been lately, getting 3 of 3, getting 4 of 4, then you can really start pumping your chest out there because you're taking care of business the way you're supposed to take care of business. That's how I would approach it. Even if these teams are tanking or, sending up minor leaguers to play, that's their problem. I ain't got nothing to do with them. I only can worry about my team and what we're accomplishing. So if I'm a Reds fan, I wouldn't worry about anybody but myself. If the teams that we're playing are bums and below 500 and they just want to keep on sending up guys, and the Cubs, boo-hoo for them that they won a World Series and now they're selling off parts of their team. Oh, well, because guess what? A couple years ago, the Reds were in that spot and they beat up on the Reds. That's how sports
true. The
go.
Reds were the Pirates for a while.
So, oh, well. Be happy. Like, I will be happy about this if I'm a Reds fan. They're in a prime position to make a push for the playoffs. They're only 5 games back. And like everybody keeps telling us, the Brewers have a tough schedule and the Reds have a weak schedule. So the schedule is a schedule. The players don't make the schedule. The teams don't make the schedule. Major League Baseball makes the schedule. So if it works in the Reds' favor this time, more power to them, because I'm sure we can go to the annals of baseball to find a way that the Yankees had an easy schedule down the back half and stormed into the playoffs and won themselves a World Series. So Reds, be happy, be greedy about these games that you got against teams that are sub 500 that are tanking the rest of the season. Go ahead, rack up these wins, because at the end of the season, 1 win in August is the same amount of wins that it would have been in April. So get them while you can.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. The Reds, they're actually having a makeup game in Cleveland tonight. In fact, 6:10 is going to be the first pitch. 5:40, the pregame. We'll end our show premature tonight just to hand it off to Reds coverage. But a big one tonight. And then the Reds, of course, they'll continue down this track of not having the toughest schedule out there. Now, they do. I mean, there's still some opponents you have to keep an eye on. Like they are after this matchup with Cleveland tonight, which, by the way, is on ESPN Plus for those of you who aren't going to be around your radio. Yes, we want you to listen on radio, but for those of you who were like me for the longest time, couldn't watch it on YouTube TV or anything, you're just looking everywhere to watch a game. ESPN Plus, the game will be on tonight as well. But the Reds, a little tough stretch here. They have 3 at Atlanta and then 3 at Philly, and those are 2 teams right now who are doing everything they can to limit their spot in the playoffs. So just keep that in mind. And then they return home on Monday, August 16th with the Cubs, and then 4 against Miami before they hit the road on that for August 24th when they have a 3-game series at Milwaukee. So the schedule, there's challenges along the way, but at the same time, it's a situation where you keep taking care of the business in front of you. But like I said, I'm gearing up for college football season where, yes, there's good and bad losses. There's also good and bad wins in college football. Like a prime example here, I use this all the time. When Clemson 2 years ago beat North Carolina by 1. Okay, it was Mac. What the heck's his name? Coach Mac. What the heck?
Brown.
Mac Brown. I'm sorry, I kept wanting to say Mac Jones. I'm like, that ain't right. Mac Brown's first year at North Carolina. They were already a much tougher, team as far as just having good leadership up at the top. They took it to Clemson. Clemson won by 1. They won. No one said, man, can we play North Carolina every week? No, they said, man, that felt dirty. That feels like a gross win. We don't like that win. And that's how college football is. So I guess I'm just preparing for that mentality coming up where wins are not always wins. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that's the difference between
style play. I guess there's no committee. It's not a beauty pageant, I guess.
It's not a beauty pageant. Your record gets you into the playoffs in major sports like the major leagues and NFL. It don't matter if you won by a point or 100 points. If your record says you are this record, you get in. But in college football, where there's so many teams and there's a committee, there's so many variables involved. Style points is a thing. Style points isn't a thing unless you're doing power rankings. But power rankings don't mean anything. Only your record means anything in the majors.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Monday. Reds in action tonight. Reds in Cleveland tonight at 6:10, 5:40 the pregame. We'll hand it off about 5:35 when we wrap up this show. But we still have a lot of time remaining and a lot still to dive into. More reaction from news and headlines out of Browns and Bengals camp. Browns and Bengals both off today, and we'll talk about that coming up. Again, first preseason games coming up this weekend for both the Browns and the Bengals, and a lot of headlines coming out of Bengals camp. I was Mr. Positivity over the weekend. I shared a positive camp result. Actually, I have nothing to do. It wasn't even my opinion. It was just a simple, hey, Bengals had a good camp. Don't believe me? Read the facts. Read the guys covering the team. I'm the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. You guys, everyone gets mad at the messenger. Don't get mad at the messenger. But for the second time in 13 days, the Bengals are off. I don't get it. High schoolers don't get time off. 2-a-day start. Boom. They work their asses off all the way up until kickoff. And they got their studies to worry about. What do these prime millionaire athletes need multiple days off during training camp? I don't get it, especially when they've only had 3 days in pads. We'll be back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. If you want to give us a call, you could do so now, 518-1410.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
For today, mostly cloudy skies and scattered thunder showers, a high of 85 degrees. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 75 degrees. And for your Tuesday, scattered thunder showers and a high of 90 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
The Dave single from Wendy's made with fresh, never frozen beef has the power to blow your mind. But now that the Dave single is buy one, get one for $1, as well as the spicy or classic chicken sandwich and the spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, Wendy's BOGO for $1 deal is gonna blow your mind and your speakers. Get these faves, BOGO $1 only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with combo or any other offer. 5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
For the ones standing guard, for the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There are many sides to running a business, and with Square, every side can be connected. So how you sell in person syncs with how you sell online, and how you take payments works with how you pay your team. And when all your tools work together, you can spend more time seeing your bigger picture take shape. See how Square can help connect every side of your business by visiting square.com/go/connect. That's square.com/go/connect.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Grammy award-winning folk band Old Crow Medicine Show and guitar-picking prodigy Molly Tuttle together live. 2 nights, Friday, August 13th at PNC Pavilion and Saturday, August 14th at Rose Music Center at the Heights.
Caroline, you do just fine.
Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Old Crow Medicine Show and Molly Tuttle live in Ohio this August.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring for warehouse positions in all units, which include flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, enhanced starting wages, and $1,500 sign-on bonus. Apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution, location Tip City, or call 937-669-9109, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Monday through Friday. Walk-in interviews are also available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9109. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. It's the final days to save up to $1,000 on select Sleep Number 360 Smart Beds and adjustable bases, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Nobody protects you from mayhem in Ohio like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go, Or was it they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
You weren't here.
No.
For, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying.
Friday.
All right, fair enough. You weren't here for the big Josh Allen news.
Oh, money.
$43 million a year. And we were talking not too long ago about what we thought these cats were going to get paid, and 43 is a little higher than what we had anticipated.
A little bit.
He's
probably
now
like good 5 more than I expected.
He's now the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson gets knocked down a peg. But nonetheless, we'll talk about that coming up here around the corner. I like I said, I'll never forget the time all of a sudden my phone's going off. Somehow Bill's Mafia just caught one of our clips of the show and lost their freaking minds because I had the nerve to question why everyone just sits here and says without a shadow of a doubt that Baker is trash compared to Josh Allen. Now, I'm not saying Baker's better than Josh Allen, but the tail of the tape, when you have a quarterback, not a running back, okay, quarterback, when your quarterback has more passing attempts, more passing yards, more passing touchdowns, and a higher QBR, to me, that screams maybe he's not as much head and shoulders better than the other one is what you think. But overall, last year, MVP type season for Josh Allen. And by the way, we talk so much about all these not controversies, but these battles between the front office and the players just trying to get their contracts done, negotiations. They usually always have a negative spotlight that follows it. Good for the Bills. I actually enjoy this. I actually enjoy seeing teams and players on the same page getting stuff done. And that's where I enjoy it. Like, I like that the Chiefs, so many times we talk about the Brett Favre sagas and we talk about the holdouts for that quarterbacks do and everything. That always seems to dominate headlines. I don't think enough credit is given to organizations like the Chiefs and the Bills for saying, you know what, we're not going to let this linger. The Texans with Deshaun Watson, that was almost like a fine, here, shut up, here's your money. That never feels good. Like, it doesn't make you feel good. The Cowboys, we talked about did Dak Prescott win? Well, I mean, he got his money. He financially won, but how much discord was created between the two during how much love loss was created during the two during that process? Like, sure, he got his money. Sure, the Cowboys got their quarterback for the long-term future now, but how much of a rift did it create? What relationships were kind of made murky a little bit within that? That's not happening in Buffalo. That's not happening in Kansas City. And so good for that, because I think things are about to get ugly in Baltimore. I think Baltimore has more of a tough decision to make than the Browns. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll get into that coming up. 518-1410 is the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. We opened up talking about the Cincinnati Reds, 10 games above 500, 5 games out of the NL Central, 2.5 games out of the wild card. I said about 2 weeks ago, there's no chance for the wild card. Their only chance is the NL Central. That chance in the Central still is alive, but all of a sudden you look at the Padres who are slipping a bit. It's like, holy smokes, like the Reds could find a way to get into the wild card. I would, of course, prefer that they win the division, but at this point, look at all the success that they have had up to this point. To be 10 games above 500, to have an MVP candidate in Nick Castellanos, to have 2 guys who started in the outfield for the National League in the All-Star game, and to do it with, Luis Castillo having an up and down season. He's on the up right now after that very slow start. To do it without Eugenio Suarez living up to what he's supposed to be, to do it without Sonny Gray being what we've been accustomed to seeing from him the last couple of seasons. You would hate for all of that to end not in a playoff series, whether it be a 1-game wild card or a complete, 7-game, division series or what have you. So the bottom line is the Reds have to find a way to get in the playoffs one way or another. 518-1410. Kev, who do we have?
We got James.
James, I appreciate you holding. How are you, sir?
Great, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good,
so
man.
Here's my thought. Regarding the schedule. I remember before the season started, reading some articles like, hey, the Reds have a tough schedule to start the season. April, May, June were tough. We've played the Dodgers a lot. We played the Padres. We played the Giants. We played the Brewers a ton. We played the White Sox. We played the Cubs when the Cubs were, leading the division and were expected to be a great team. And to me, it's like, yeah, the schedule. We're just playing the games as a whole that we were scheduled to play, and it just so happens that the back end of our schedule, these teams are weak, out of contention, etc. And like, I don't think your true fan is like, talking about the Reds in terms of schedule. I think but I'm always looking at the pitching matchup, and I think it's great for playing a team, and their pitcher isn't very good, and we got a better chance to win. And yeah, the reason why I think that we will make the playoffs is the Padres have a really formidable schedule, particularly down the stretch, with a bunch of games against the Giants, a bunch of games against the Dodgers, a bunch of games against the Astros. I mean, they're going to have. I think we have a real decent shot of winning the wild card at a minimum.
Well, of getting to the wild card, winning the wild card could be different, because here's what I'm asking from Reds fans right now, James, is I keep hearing, well, the Reds have a chance to get to the playoffs because they don't play anybody. Well, who are they when they get to the playoffs? How are they going to win in the playoffs, I guess, is basically what I'm asking, because right now, when you look around the league and you look at the teams who are in control, they could tell you why they're confident to go up against anybody, to where I don't think that the Reds can, because while we're bragging about having to play the Marlins and playing the Pirates and playing this blown up Cubs roster, those teams aren't going to be around come October. So again, it's one thing to be confident that, oh man, I'm confident we could beat the Pirates, but are you confident? Like, who are you in comparison to the Padres, to the Dodgers, Giants? Who are you in comparison to the American League when you look at the Yankees and some of those other teams in contention? So that's all.
James, how confident are you?
I think there's got to. Yeah, I feel very confident. I mean, number one, like, look at what we've actually done when we've had a roster that was deplete with injuries. We went into Milwaukee and swept them, and I know they've had success here, but I look at the team right now. And I think we're like you mentioned Castillo. Like, Castillo sucked at the beginning of the season, and now he's pitching incredibly well. We've got people we got two guys that are rookies that are starters who are doing incredibly well. India's incredibly hot. We've got a really good offense, and every single one of our starting pitchers, I never feel like, oh shoot, we're going to lose because he's pitching. I look forward to everyone getting a start. Our bullpen is healthy. I feel very, very good about this Reds team as well. I feel as good about this team as it's constituted today as I have any Reds team in the past 10 years.
Fair enough. And James, I appreciate you calling in with that, because that's what I was basically asking is I'm tired of on social media and everything is, man, I love this Reds team. Can we play the Pirates more? It's like, no. What is it about this team that makes you feel confident that they are one of the top teams in baseball? You just called in and you just explained why you feel confident about this team, and that's what I wanted. So I appreciate that, James. And you didn't swear this time, and we thought you were about to, and you said the right word. So congratulations. Growth, my friend.
Well, okay, let's end that narrative. That's the last time. I haven't done that.
It is the last time. You're right. It will be the last time.
That's for sure.
Hey, James, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
All right, see ya.
All right, so there we go. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to know, outside of the Reds play bad teams, that's why I'm confident that they'll be fine. I just want to know who are the Reds? Who are they? We know who the Padres and the Giants are. We know who the Dodgers are. I mean, my goodness, you look across the landscape of all of Major League Baseball right now, the teams in contention, we kind of know who they are. And when I ask who are the Cincinnati Reds, everyone keeps saying, oh, they got 10 with the Pirates. No, I didn't ask who they have on the schedule. I asked who they are. Oh, they have the Pirates still. No, pay attention. Listen, James, thank you for listening. That's all I needed to know.
You know, the difference between baseball and any other sport, when you play a team that's basically tanking and everything like that, you know, you see like a couple years ago when the Dolphins were tanking, they traded away their best players and they were tanking. They were trying to lose games. Like, you go into those games thinking like, oh, this is a stat game. Or even in basketball where teams are tanking, like, you know, you look the back half of the Cleveland Cavaliers schedule and they were basically out of playoff contention, giving up, you know, tanking. Or if in college football, like you play, your max teams and everything like that, you look at it, go into it. All right, this is a stat game. But in baseball, you don't have that because on any given night, there's a different pitcher out there. And that pitcher may have his best stuff that night. You know what I'm saying? So baseball is a very weird sport. Is very unique from all the other sports out there where 9 times out of 10, well, not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you're not facing the same team every single night. Like, and if you play the Orlando Magic in a back-to-back, you're probably playing their same starting 5 and the same 4 guys off the bench. You're playing the exact same team. But in baseball, that pitcher makes all the difference in the world. Who's the pitcher out there?
That's a good point.
So that's why I'm hesitant to look at baseball in the same light as everything else. Like, well, they should roll these teams. They should smoke these teams. These teams are tanking. Well, a pitcher just might be on his A game that night, and you may not be able to hit him. And they might not be able to hit either. But if they get one run across the plate and that pitcher pitches the best game of his life, you lose. And that's why I don't get overreactive about one loss here, one loss there. Now, when those losses start to compile and they're not looking good at all, they're finding different ways to lose, then I start to panic. Then I start to say, like, all right, these things aren't adding up. We're not playing good baseball the way we're supposed to be playing baseball. So that's why I'm always a little hesitant when, all right, if the Reds lose 2 straight to the Pirates, I'm not going to be like freaking out or anything like that. I will want to take a look at the game and see how they lost as opposed to just saying, oh man, they lost, the season's over, it's a wrap and everything like that. So that's just where I go with it.
Nope, absolutely. And like I said, and I always say this, like in football, like when Ohio State plays Maryland and Rutgers back-to-back weeks, Ohio State looked good. Okay, great. They should look good because it's Rutgers and Maryland. But what do we learn? And a lot of times, like Ohio State this year, they have Minnesota, Oregon right off the bat. Say what you want about Minnesota. Like that's Ohio State should be head and shoulders above Minnesota, but Minnesota is still a bigger threat in week 1 than the Miami of Ohio's or the Florida Atlantics and all that. And by the way, I apologize. I keep saying Miami of Ohio. I have no clue why I do that. Kev, I really don't. I have no. But isn't that the team?
Go with the Bobcats. Make that your team that you bang on now because like they're further away from us.
Fine. Well, yeah, there we go. But Max
or the
School.
Zips.
Just say the Zips, Max School, what have you.
Do me a favor, don't bang on the Falcons, the BG Falcons, man. I got family up there.
So Bowling Green. So thank you. That's all I needed was that motivation to use them. So there you go. But when Ohio State beats up on these teams, I think what a lot of people get mad at, like Alabama, when they play, a nobody in the middle of the schedule, and when they play weak teams at the beginning. Which, by the way, I hate ripping people's schedules in college football because everyone plays bad teams in the non-conference. Like, let's just be honest. Like, I hate when Ohio State fans get so obsessed with the nobodies that Alabama plays, all while pumping their chest because they beat the MAC champion. Like, I'm just like, shut up. Like that's a weird loser approach to that. Oh, they don't play anybody. We at least if your argument is the bad teams we play are better than the bad teams you play, that's a weird mentality to bring to the table to have this debate. I'm getting off sidetracked here, but at the end of the day, when they play bad teams like Ohio State does at times, I don't get as high up on wins at times because I'm like, yeah, well, what did we learn? What are we going to learn in bad? Like Oregon, Minnesota, we're going to know who the hell CJ Stroud is right off the bat. Like there's not going to be an easing in for him. Like Minnesota, that's a tough Big Ten game. Now, are they Ohio State? Not even close, but that's still in your division, in your conference. That's a tough opening game to have. You're not easing into the season. You have a Big Ten opponent on the road on a Thursday night, and you're the starter for the very first time. And you got this Quinn Ewers kid who is just literally breathing on your neck, and you're just like, get away from me. I want to get comfortable. There are so many elements of we're going to know who they are a little bit right off the bat, especially with Oregon in week 2. But when they play bad teams, it's like, okay, well, that's good. They should beat those teams, but who are they? What did we take away? That easy, those run plays that they dominated on, they're not getting that against Penn State. They're not getting that. So that's why I'm at with the Reds. When they beat up on bad teams, I'm like, okay, but are we really seeing the bullpen improve, or is it just because they're not going up against as quality of hitters as what we see when they're going up against the Brewers or a lot of the better teams in the National League? So 518-1410. Kev, who's up next?
We got Scott.
Scott, how are you? Welcome.
I'm groovy.
Groovy, huh? Nice.
That's my favorite word, man. I've got 2 analogies. I know you said last time I called. You don't have to dump me either. Don't worry, Kev. The first analogy I have is baseball seasons are like one basketball game. You got runs. Each team gets their runs in. And it's a matter of if you got your best guys in when they make their big run, if you're in trouble or not. And I feel like the Brewers and San Diego, they had their big runs where they established their leads when we got guys injured. And a lot of our guys are back now, and I think we're hot, and I think we're making our run now. I mean, we trended up 2 games over the weekend. We went from being 7 down to 5 down, and you got to do that to make up ground. You just have to be consistently hot to make up that ground, and we are right now. But here's my other analogy. When we get in the playoffs, we're like George Costanza when he gets out of the pool. There's major shrinkage, and it's embarrassing.
It's cold outside, right? Like,
yeah, I was in the pool, and that's the Cincinnati Reds. The last time they were in a playoff, one of those wild card games, they got shut out. They didn't score a run. We got swept on that other playoff series. We look like George Costanza out of the pool, and we got to figure out. I mean, it's going to sound like the same answer I give every time, but when you got guys like Garrett in the bullpen, which is a coin flip if he's going to be amazing looking or he's going to look like a dumpster fire, you can't have that in the playoffs. You just can't. You got to have a solid mentally solid bullpen, and you can't have a shortstop or a third baseman batting 170. You can't.
You're getting a lot of praise for your Costanza analogy on the page. So congratulations.
They're loving you on the board.
This is a tough crowd. I mean, I get killed on the boards or whatever. So you're off to a good start. So that's
we're amusing and we're entertaining and stuff during the regular season, and then the minute we hit the playoffs, it's
shrinkage.
Like we get out of the pool. Yep.
All right, we're done.
What's going to happen?
Keep going, Scott. I'm sorry. What?
That's what's going to. And on top of that, you got David Bell sitting there. He's the biggest George Costanza out of the pool that there ever was. So
now you're trying to make
insults. I think we got a playoff team. I think we got a playoff team. I do, but I think we're going to get beaten in the first round, or we're going to get eliminated in the wild card. Sorry, I'm a diehard Reds fan, but I've seen this too many times.
That's the spirit. Hey, Scott, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thanks for the laugh.
All right, have a great one.
You too. Shrinkage.
Add that one to the
shrinkage. So the last caller, Scott, when talking about the Reds' approach to the playoffs, shrinkage was the analogy he used. Interesting. Well, it is cold in October, to be fair. We'll be back. More of your Facebook reaction and your phone calls, 518-1410 when we come back. Shrinkage.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic Round Stick Ballpoint Pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for school. Pens 918, limit 30 on Crayola. Bic Pens in store only.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for fur babies. If you think it's been hard being stuck at home for a year, think about your dog. It's been 7 years for them, and they deserve to get out and sniff the world too. So grab Daisy, Ranger, or Doodles and hit the road. But be sure to stick your head out the window and look for a Motel 6. And like all pets, Baxter stays free. Hot dog. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com. BuckeyesRoofing.com. You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need a dependable body shop, we're here to help, repairing all makes and models. Our technicians have over 125 years experience. That means we can repair your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our department is state-of-the-art with new equipment to get you back on the road quickly. We offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Goodyear believes in the power of moving forward. No matter if it's on the track, the court, or the field, movement makes us want to be more. It pushes us to go further, to show the world what we can do. Movement has the unique ability to change our perspective, to challenge us, to work for a better tomorrow. Movement can even bring us together when we're still, because if we're focused on the next move, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Wendy's only serves one kind of breakfast, a better one. And right now, the sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit are all just 2 for $4. Nice.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
(518-1410), 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. I tell you what, September 2nd, Ohio State kicks off the season, just over 3 weeks away. Not bad. They're deep into camp right now. Deep into camp. They're less than a week into camp, so there's that. So, yeah, I'm just excited. We're getting closer and closer. Camp's a week and a half in for the Browns and the Bengals, and I love the moving of the goalpost, Kev. When your team's not playing well in camp, it's, oh, well, it's just camp. And then when your team's playing well, it's, oh, man, we're going to be great. And Bengals fans, they caught me off guard over the weekend. I shared a post that Joe Burrow, and by the way, I'm happy about this. Everyone thought I was unhappy that the Bengals had a good day at practice. No, I'm not that bad of a person to where I want Joe Burrow to fail. I want him to succeed, but I want him to succeed in spite of the flaws that the organization puts in front of him. But that's besides the point. Now, my point was I shared the article about how the Bengals had a great day at camp. And Joe Burrow had his great day at camp and everything. And then everyone's like, see, you overreacted for no. I'm like, whoa, time out. We're 8 days into camp. He said 1 good day and 7 bad days. The 7 bad days meant nothing because it wasn't the news you wanted to hear. But now that the performance is at the level you like for 1 day, now it's like, oh, it means something. So I just need to know, does camp results mean anything? Because when it's bad, you told me it meant nothing. And then when it was good, everyone's chirping at me. I just need to know, let's, as a team, move the goalpost together. Okay. If we're going to move the goalpost, let's do it cohesively, shall we? We'll get to that talk coming up here in 10 minutes. I want to get Kev's thoughts here in hour number 2 coming up about the contract extension, the negotiations in regards to Josh Allen. Josh Allen, of course, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. That's all coming up around the corner. Camp reactions, of course, and the Hall of Fame was over the weekend. So that was pretty fun watching that. It's a lot of really cool stuff. You know, Peyton Manning only got 6 sex. He had sex, apparently. Wow. I'm not even going to pretend I didn't say that. I was going to say Peyton Manning had 6 minutes to talk, but I said Peyton Manning had sex. So, Kenner, you're an idiot. Wow, that was funny. I mean, Peyton Manning had sex, apparently. That's
got a couple kids.
I meant to say 6 minutes. He's not Phillip Rivers by any means. My God. I meant to say Peyton Manning had 6 minutes because everyone else went too long on their speeches. Like, I don't understand.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, like they rushed him. That's why I was wondering. I'm like, my God, he was like going through it very quickly.
Speed reading.
I enjoyed his speech, by the way. And, you know, I mean, hopefully he has sex longer than he does his, you know, speaking in his speech. I don't know. I mean, but I didn't mean to say that word. I meant to say 6. But anyways, just go ahead and keep chirping at me. It's fine. Bottom line is I thought that was interesting. I thought that was really crappy. I mean, every Hall of Famer is worthy, but I mean, let's be honest. If there's, I mean, Peyton Manning, everyone loves to hear him speak. We wanted to hear Omaha. I wanted to hear Omaha speak.
You know, the thing about it, he probably only got 6 minutes because everything is made for TV now. You know, a live event like that, you know, these guys are Hall of Famers. Like, they should be able to speak basically as long as they want. Like, this is their moment to shine. Because let's be clear, man, a lot of those guys that get introduced to the Hall of Fame, inducted to the Hall of Fame, they're not going to be the Peyton Mannings. They're not going to be the Charles Woodsons. They're not going to be the Randy Mosses who we see on TV every single weekend before the games and everything like that. Most guys retire, go into the Hall of Fame, and they go and live their life. You know, they're taking their kids to school. They're, you know, hanging out with the family and things of that nature. We're not going to see them all the time. So for them to, you know, beat on their chest and thank the loved ones that helped them get to that point, putting a time limit on it, man, that just seems like very made for TV. Hey, man, we got to hit these commercial breaks type of stuff. Now, granted, I know all about that, you know, got to hit these commercial breaks on time.
Yeah, I'm not Peyton Manning. I keep talking over the, when you guys hear that music, by the way, that's Kev nicely saying, shut the hell up, let's go to break. And you'll notice how long I keep talking over that music, but I'm a bad employee there. So,
but that's where I'm at with it. I'm just like, man, this is a made for TV event. You're telling Peyton Manning that, yeah, you had a great career. I want you to thank everybody in your 40 plus years of life that helped you get to this point in 6 minutes. Your teammates,
6.
your coaches, your parents, your wife, your kids, your brothers, your siblings, your sisters, whomever. Yeah, you got 6 minutes. It's pretty crappy. And it's all because, hey, man, we got to hit this commercial break at the top of the hour. Sorry, Peyton.
So, you know, this here's an example.
And he's an ESPN employee nonetheless.
Years ago, and that's probably why they said fine. We'll hear him be talking a lot coming up, so it's fine. But, you know, a couple years ago, so at times we're fortunate to get like some interviews with guys like when Mike Tirico was with ESPN years ago. And sounds like I'm pumping my chest, but it was really cool, this experience I had with Mike Tirico, because years ago he was doing a media tour and they told us you have 10 minutes with him. No, do not go over 10 minutes. And let's just start at a time. Let's say it was 1:30. That was my opportunity to talk with him. I was waiting. It was 1:30, 1:36. He calls. And actually it was maybe a little bit later than that because we maybe had 3 minutes. And when he called, I said, I tell you what, I could tell other people didn't fulfill their, you know, obligation to, you know, to stick to a certain time. I don't want this to sound rushed and this sound like awkward. So I tell you what, how about you just go ahead and call your next interview on time and early to try to get you back on schedule. And then, you know, hopefully I'm fortunate enough to get to talk to you again later on. He gives me a cell number. We do an interview about a week or two later, and I got like 15, 20 minutes with them, and it was awesome. So I bring that up because there is ways everyone's slotted a certain amount of times, and people just don't care about the person in front of them. Everyone thinks that their time is more valuable than everybody else's, and people get punished for that. So I'm not comparing me to Peyton Manning, but my point is I've felt that before, where you have a 10-minute time slot to interview somebody, and because the person before you went over with their time, and even if the first interview goes over 1 minute and the next interview goes over a minute, now that it may have not have been
domino effect.
Yeah, it's a domino effect. But I thought that was, anyways. Yeah, I'm pumping my meme like Tirico. We're so cool. But my point is
cool.
ESPN or whoever runs these little Hall of Fame speeches, it literally should be like when you cue my music to shut up. They needed their music to shut them up. I think that, why was the only one that was punished as far as time to do his speech was Peyton Manning? I thought that was kind of wrong, to be honest with you. I'd be saying about anybody who was last and had to suffer because everyone else went way over on their time. They are given a time limit. I don't know what that exact time limit is, but everyone ignored it. And then the guy that got punished for it was Peyton Manning because he was up against the clock, because unlike the others, the camera was going to go black at the end of that speech one way or another, and that's basically what it was. But still really cool, and they had a lot in their plate too. They were putting 2 years of classes in. I appreciate that. Like for instance, Keith Byers is going to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in December for last year.
Right.
So they'll also be making up time to do that as well. And, I remember talking with Keith last year. He said, look, if they try to honor me virtually or something, he goes, I'm just going to respectfully pass for this year and say, no, I want my moment. I want to, and he should, by the way, everyone should want their moment to go on a stage and speak to all their loved ones, to everyone there that was a part of their journey throughout their success. So I don't mind that at all, but I know how tough it is to get multiple classes in to be honored during that stretch. All right. That's the music right there. As Kev's trying to shut me up and get me out of here as we close out hour number 1. Interestingly enough, so a lot of reaction in the comment section about what we're talking about with the Reds. Let me get to a couple of these. Brad Mays, what up, Brad Mays? He says the recent history of heartbreak, talking about the Reds right now, the recent history of heartbreak makes people nervous as opposed to OSU beating the pants off of everyone on a regular season basis. So to reset the context here, I had asked, I love that the Reds are 10 games above 500. I love watching the Reds win, and I love the fact that it is August 9th and we're still talking about the Reds in the playoffs. I think that's really cool. But I brought up the point that what I'm tired of is I don't hear anybody bragging about how good the Reds are as far as how they're good. All I keep hearing people say is, man, can we play the Pirates every night? Man, I love that it's a good thing we have the Pirates and Marlins and Cubs coming up. It's never, oh man, I feel really good about our team. So I used Ohio State as an example, saying, man, when you look at the Buckeyes, when they beat bad teams, sometimes those bad teams they beat can feel like bad wins because they didn't beat them convincingly enough, or maybe their first team struggled against a first team MAC team that you're like, hold on, the MAC team should not be, I don't care if it's the best MAC team of all time, they should not be slowing down an Ohio State offense that's full of 4 and 5 stars, right? Like that's just how it's viewed. There are such things as bad wins. In baseball, I'm getting the vibe from Reds fans that wins are wins, and they are, especially from a standings perspective. In college football, there's a playoff committee that does the eye test. So there is a little difference there. But that eye test exists because we all do the eye test and everything, even standings, throw that out. How about the NBA playoffs, Kev? I don't care who's 1 seed and 8 seed. Back in the day, the 1 seed was a true reflection of who the top team was or one of the top teams. Now you have guys resting. It's not a true indicator anymore, seeding in the playoffs, of who's good and who's not, because too many teams are resting guys for the playoffs. So that was a good take right there. Brady says, Brady Dunlap, you could only beat the teams put in front of you, but does that make me comfortable when we get in the playoffs and we're not playing the Pirates and the Cubs? That's my point, is who are the Reds? Like, they're good. You have to be good to beat bad teams. That's the bottom line, and the Reds are at least doing that. So Doug Toby, he goes, I think now we can see how good a job David Bell has done with team chemistry and keeping starting pitchers and players fresh for the stretch run. Doug, I'll give you this, because usually I'm always very snarky and I combat your takes with the snarky take. I'm not going to do that. I will say this about David Bell. It is tough to get teams geared up and excited to play bad teams. Like, it's tough. Like, you could, I always argue against playing bad teams at times because it's tough. When it was 95 degrees yesterday, humidity was unbelievable. It was miserable at the ballpark, temperature wise. And yet the Reds approached that game like it didn't matter who they played. They were just playing baseball. They were playing their game. So I will give David Bell that. David Bell has this team playing at a level that it's not about who they're playing. It's about the circumstances in which they're playing, and they're playing right now for a playoff spot. So, Doug, There you go. I do have it in me to agree with callers and listeners at times. So there's that. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. I'll send you out with this one. Ann Anderson, shout out to Ann. Kev, she says that she has just spent several days in the state up north and was forced to watch the Tigers. She goes, I'll take my chances on the Reds any day. There you go. I like that. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up. NFL training camp. When you're good, that means you're good. And when you're bad, does it just mean it's training camp and means nothing? Let's talk. Let's debate, Bengals fans, Browns fans. 518-1410, hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
I watched Ozark again over the weekend, watched the complete series. Dude, that's so good. That show was good. I'm telling you, I'm one of those, like, I live in the moment type at times. Nothing touches Breaking Bad to me, but it's like when I watch that, I'm like, man, that's pretty dang close. The writing is brilliant. Every line, every camera angle, every part along the way, it's connecting the dots to the next part of the story. Like, there is no detail. The only other show I've watched where I felt like every dot was connected and there was never confusion was Breaking Bad to me. You're a big Ozark fan too.
Love it.
So I stole, by the way, this was Kev's topic that I put out over the weekend.
You did it?
I did it.
Okay.
The Wendy
had that discussion.
The Wendy Bird against Skylar White. I said, after watching again the entire series over of Ozark, I was stuck because I'm like, man, I hear a lot of people talk about how horrible Wendy Bird is, but I cannot. Skylar White to me is still the worst. I'm not a Skylar White fan, and I'm going to do our best for those who haven't watched Ozark to not give away certain things. But at the same time, Wendy Bird, at least she accepted the role of where the family was to protect the family. Skylar would do what she had to, but then get on her high horse to separate herself. Like, she would do the worst of the worst and then try to separate herself from Walter White. Like, she's better no matter what. She can kill 10 people and say, well, I'm only doing this because you put me in the position to do it. Like, it was never like, oh, like I'm a bad person now too. To where Wendy, she's she's dangerous. Family, blood is not thicker than water with Wendy Bird. I'll leave it at that.
Wendy.
So Skylar White to me is the worst of the
No way. It is Wendy by a mile, by miles, because of everything that she did once she got down with the life. But let's not forget everything she was doing prior to her involvement.
She had her TED as well.
But you got to think, she did that prior to the life of crime. Once, Skylar did her dirt, it was after the fact and after everything went wrong. And that's why I think Breaking Bad is a superior show, because we can't stand Skylar, even though in reality, Walt is the bad guy. He's the bad guy. Look what he's doing. Look, he poisoned children. He's murdered people left and right.
But he was so smart. He didn't poison the children. He knew exactly how much to give the impression that the kid was poisoned. But he knew the whole time that the kid would be fine.
What about the
Breaking Bad's been out long enough that if we give spoilers away, if you haven't watched it by now, that's on you. But I highly suggest you watch it.
You watch it.
At the end of the day,
and watch it again.
And I watch it constantly, all the time. It's always like when I go to sleep at night, it's either The Office or Breaking Bad. But over the weekend, Ozark got my full attention.
Wendy Bird is a terrible person.
But they're all terrible. They all do terrible things.
Person. Horrible.
But like, she was unified with her family. Now some didn't make it, but the point is Skylar.
I know we're not trying to do spoilers, but you just watched. You do remember what she tried to do at the end of that season, right?
Yeah. But the ending, I mean, look, there's no right way to do anything in that situation. But at the end of the day, I don't know. To me, I'm Team Wendy every time.
Ugh.
Skylar White. I literally found myself.
I don't like Skylar either.
What I loved about Breaking Bad was I'm like, why do I hate her? Like, she's the victim in all of this.
Exactly.
Like, she was a loving housewife who all of a sudden has a drug lord of a husband.
And we hate her.
And she has every right to be mad at her husband. They have a beautiful family, and he gets into the drug trade. And now all of a sudden she's ticked off, and we're mad at her for being ticked off. It makes zero sense.
That's why the writing is so excellent.
But I hate Skylar White. I hate Skylar White.
She went through some emotional stuff because people would be angry at her when they would see her out in public and everything like that. We hate you.
Good. I saw her, I'd say the same thing.
That means she's doing her job. She's a great actress, man, because every time I see her in random things, oh, there's Skylar White. She can't even be what her real name is. Anna Gunn is her real name. But when I see her,
Skylar to me, man.
She's Skylar White, Skylar White. Oh man, I can't stand you. And the same thing for the woman that plays Wendy Bird. Whatever she plays in from now into eternity, she's Wendy Bird. I can't stand her.
So on Facebook, by the way, head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show to get all of your latest sports headlines. And again, I'm throwing this out there, and then we're moving on to the actual sports of the show. But I am curious. We're going to talk politics next, folks. I want to know who you guys voting for this.
Yeah,
no, I'm just joking. I swear, I'm just joking. Holy crap, I forgot you can't joke about that even. But in all seriousness, well, not really seriousness, but over the weekend I watched Ozark again, and Kevin and I had this debate about a while back about Wendy Bird, the wife in Ozark, and then Skylar White, the wife in Breaking Bad. I disliked both, but if I had to pick who I liked more of the two, I'm Team Wendy. Team Wendy Bird. Team Wendy Bird. And they spell Bird really dumb, by the way. It's like Bryaid. I'm like, just Bird. Come on, make it simple. But Skylar White, I don't like Skylar White. I just don't. I don't like the actress. She's cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't know her from anything else. But there you go. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. 7 minutes into hour number 2, and now it's time to talk sports on a sports show. But by the way, Team Wendy, Team Skylar in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys. The stuff that some of the callers have talked about today has been very inappropriate, so I don't think we're that far off base here. All right, over the weekend, the Cincinnati Bengals continued training camp. Joe Burrow had a couple off days last week. And again, look, I think that we were so caught up in this, even us too. I think we forgot the significance of coming off of that type of surgery. I mean, his ACL, MCL, every part of his knee was basically reconstructed. It's a medical miracle. The fact that he's even walking and even in position to be cleared off the PUP list to start the season. So I think we all forgot, even you most delusional Bengals fans out there, I think we all forgot. We were so caught up in the debate about who to take. Would Jamar Chase against Penei Sewell? Did they do enough in the offensive line and free agency as well? We were so caught up with the excitement of watching Joe. I mean, look what Joe Burrow did with the horrible offensive line last year with just T. Higgins in his rookie year and Tyler Boyd. and Joe Mixon not really having a good year at all. Look how good he was then. Imagine how good he's going to be in year 2. I think there's one thing we can all agree on is that whether you like me or not, Bengals fan, Browns fan, bottom line is we can all agree that I think we honestly put on the back burner the idea of what coming off that surgery could mean for getting him prepped for this upcoming season. So I will admit that that's something that I hadn't even thought about. I was so caught up in making my opinions based on not wanting to see him get hurt again that we're talking so much about him not getting hurt again that we forget about the fact that he's not even healed technically 1,000,000% from the last time he got significantly hurt back in week 10 of 2020. Or 2020. Yeah, 2020. I don't even know what year it is anymore. The bottom line is it's going to take time for him to come back 100% mentally, physically as well. We had the debates last week about, should the Bengals have even brought him back this early? Should they have eased him back slower? Last year the Dolphins did a good job, but not a good job, but their approach with Tua was, and maybe some of it was because Tua wasn't as good as what many had thought he was going to be. They slowly brought him in. They were not trying to, him coming off very similar injuries the year before from his time at Alabama in college. Miami was in no hurry to throw him out there and risk him getting hurt. And Cincinnati has him out the right away. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just wondering if maybe the approach is too aggressive with getting Joe Burrow ready to play this upcoming season. He had a week straight of horrible practices. There was one day where he only had one completion that was further than 10 yards. And all I did was share the report, and everyone just thought I was hating because, that's the easy, lazy response. Instead of paying attention to what I'm sharing or what's going on, it's easier just to call Kenner a hater because you don't want to admit that your team is probably not in good shape heading into the season. So I was bombarded, Kev, with messages of, you're an idiot. It's week 1 of training camp. I can't believe you are actually trying to spin week 1 of training camp into something. It means nothing. Okay. I'm willing to play by your rules. Joe Burrow has a good day at camp. He has a couple nice passes to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and he looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket. He was very efficient. Super. Now practice means something because now everyone's mad at me. Someone wrote on my wall on Facebook today saying, I expect a much more positive approach to the season. So wait, I thought camp meant nothing. And don't get mad at me. I'm playing by your rules. I'm a team-friendly guy. I like to play by everybody's rules. And the rules that were established last week was Kinner's full of crap, which isn't anything new. Kinner's full of crap. He's making something out of nothing. It's training camp. Who cares? It literally means nothing. Then Joe Burrow has a good day at practice, and now training camp is everything. I mean, the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, I feel bad. There is 0% chance that Aaron Rodgers wins that MVP this year because Joe Burrow had one good day of practice during training camp. The Bengals are off today, by the way. I know it's normal. The Browns are off today, too. I just think it's dumb that 1 week into training camp and teams are getting multiple days off. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but Kev, it's strange. You have an entire offseason. Hell, the Bengals got an extra day off at OTAs because Zach Taylor figured, well, we got about as good as we could possibly get here at OTAs, so have an off day and then followed up by another month of off days, get into camp and have an off day 4 days in and then have another off day today. I just don't get it. I don't think they need it. Get your ass out. They have a lot to work on. Get your ass out there. You can't afford days off.
Kenner wants the days back where water was for suckers. like that's what's in the collective bargaining agreement. That's how it is across all teams. It isn't just these teams that are getting days off. Every team gets a day off here and there as well, and they're going to be off for multiple days. Some teams are going to be off back-to-back days. It's all about how the collective bargaining agreement is. It's all good. It's not nothing to worry about.
Okay. But last year, oh man, we had no training camp, no days to practice. You have no idea how valuable practice is until practice gets here and you have a full month of practice and you're just taking days off left and right. I mean, shout out to our local high school kids around here who bust their tail all while going to class for 8 hours a day. So kudos to them who work harder than these NFL players. I'm just saying. You think Centerville's like, oh man, we've had 2 days of practice. I think we need load management. Okay, let these young. No, they're busting their ass. Like we got 2 hours of practice. We're gonna practice 2 hours and 1 minute today. We're gonna give it our all. The Browns and Bengals and NFL, these guys, they it's been a long off season of them doing nothing, and we don't want to overwork them in the first couple. Give me a break. Get your ass out there. What's wrong with you? Now, someone called in on Friday trying to give me the spiel, Kev, of, well, I'm pretty sure when you have PTO or off days, you use them. Yeah, I also work 365 days of the year. These cats work 6 months, and then they still bitch because they need more off days within the season. I'm just saying. But in all seriousness, that is great news about Joe Burrow having a good day at camp. And again, that's just something to build on. I still think that there are issues that go beyond just Joe Burrow. Look, Joe Burrow I'm pulling for. I'm not pulling for the Bengals. I'm pulling for Joe Burrow to stay healthy so that when he gets his big contract, when he signs with his next team, he's taken care of. I want him to be healthy enough to force his way out of Cincinnati. That's what I want. Because you can be mad at me all you want, Bengals fans, but I think I have literally called every single thing that has happened since he was drafted. I called it that he was going to have a season-ending injury, which I'm not happy that I was right about, but I was right about. I called it that the team was not going to make the offensive line a point of focus in the offseason, and I called it. They didn't. They did not make it a point of emphasis whatsoever. I called it. Oh, Jamar Chase has not been good in practice. I called it. Super. Oh, he caught a 16-yard pass. I saw someone, I think Brad Mays said, when did everyone was losing their mind about a 16-yard completion. I'm like, when did a 16-yard pass be something worth, doing jumping jacks over? I'm just saying Nick Chubb, he runs for 17 yards per down half the time. So, I'm just saying I'm not that impressed. Oh, and then on top of that, Jackson Carman, the depth chart came out today. Michael Jordan is listed as the starting guard in the very first depth chart released by the Bengals, and Jackson Carman is the backup to the backup, third string. The guy that you took because Willie Anderson said he's good. I talked to Willie Anderson. Willie Anderson, he tweeted. Willie Anderson has a Twitter account, and Willie Anderson on that Twitter account tweeted out that he's really good. And apparently that's the only research that Mike Brown did, because that's exactly who the Bengals selected in the second round over the guy from Notre Dame and over some really good offensive line talent after not taking Penei Sewell in the first round. So be mad at me all you want. The bottom line is you hate Kenner because he's right. It's as simple as that. I said, I don't name one thing I've been wrong about with the Bengals. One. I'll wait. It's a battle that they're losing, and they're mad at me for it. So there you go. By the way, Jackson Carman, third string on the first depth chart that comes out. Now, he could be the starter by the next depth chart. But the bottom line is had they selected Jackson Carman, Kev, in the 5th or 6th round, and he comes out as the third string, no one's batting an eye at it. Kinner's, he's silent. He'll find something else to complain about, I'm sure. But when you confidently selected him in the second round and you pumped your chest and said, we know what we're doing, we did our research, we talked to Willie Anderson, I just think this is on them. This is on them. Michael Jordan, though, good for him, by the way. And I did spin this in a positive note. If Michael Jordan can improve to the point to where they can justify making him the starting guard and he's successful, that is the type of testimony that coaching staff desperately needs.
Right.
Because I'm not sure of one position that's gotten better under this coaching staff. And if they can make a success story out of Michael Jordan, Kev, that's something to build on. I will definitely give them that. So I'll leave it at that.
For me, training camp is exactly that. It's training camp. It's an opportunity for everybody to get better. You don't want to have your offense dominating the entire training camp, just like you don't want your defense dominating the training camp entirely. You want to have your good days. You want to have your bad days. And when you have your bad days, you want to have those days followed up by good days. And it's good that, Joe Burrow had a bounce back situation, because if he would have continued an ongoing situation where he's continually having bad days at practice, then that's something to be worried about. I think him having a bounce back day at training camp is a positive thing. I never look at it as a collective, because it's a training camp. It's not a one-off. This isn't the NCAA tournament where it's a one and done situation. This is a training camp. This is a month and a half process before you get up to your first game of the season. So you can make big time improvements from week 1 of training camp to week 5 to week 6 of training camp before things kick off for real. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm encouraged that, okay, he's knocking the rust off. He's feeling more confident and stepping up into the pocket, feeling more confident on the knee and everything like that. These are the positive steps. Now, for people that are saying training camp doesn't count, I'm not a person that says training camp doesn't count, but I'm a person that believes like everything that you do out there and everything that you put on film counts towards something at the end. At the end, it's an evaluation of everything. It's an evaluation of the collective, not just, all right, today, all right, he was terrible. Oh, he sucks. Today, he was good. Oh, he's the best thing ever. I can't flip-flop that fast. I got to see the collective, the whole kit and caboodle before I'm willing to make an estimate on how he's going to be playing this season. So, okay, he's been bad. It's just plain and simple. From the reports, he's been horrible at training camp. And from the latest one, he had a good day. Now let's compound those good days. Let's make sure that wasn't the anomaly. Let's make sure we have another good day and continue to build on those good days going into the upcoming season. And that's very tough for me to say, to be objective, because I have to be objective here because, you know, it's a sports show and everything like that. But I wanted to be terrible every day because I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But objectively, let's compound the good days and have a great finish to camp.
All right, Justin Kinder, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. In all seriousness, how much stock should be put into the first couple weeks of training camp? Because I don't get, like, by the way, the Browns reports out of Browns camp, and this is to show that I'm not a homer. A lot of positivity out of Browns camp, Kev. Baker looks great. OBJ, who's not even in full practice mode, those two are working out together like you would not believe. Apparently, they look great. Okay, I heard the same things last year, that Baker and him are more in sync, and yet there were still a lot of issues between the two in the first couple of games of the season that OBJ was healthy for. Apparently, if the defense was allowed to actually hit the quarterback, apparently, you look at the defensive lineman, Myles Garrett, and the guys that they added, they would have like 100 sacks right now, which should be alarming, right? I mean, that's the best offensive line in football, and yet apparently Baker is just getting destroyed at the end of the day. I don't care about the positive stuff coming out of camp because, okay, cool. You know, you should be looking good. The defense should look good because they know what's coming. The offense should look good because, you're basically running at half speed your plays and you're just trying to get the timing down and those types of things. So I don't care about the positive. I'm confident in the Browns' ability to make a run at the Super Bowl this year because of how good they were last year, how much better they got in the offseason, not because of the positive reports coming out of camp. They're doing what they should be doing. I get more alarmed by the negative, Kev. If you had to, not everything's, good, positive reports, negative reports. If you had a distribution percentage of where your emotions should be tied to, should you feel better about positive reports or more or worse about negative reports? I don't care about positive reports. I don't care. I mean, the reports coming out usually are shaped to make them look better than what they are. So the fact that the Bengals media, who I think is one of the bigger media homers of all the NFL, no offense to them, that's just the reality of it because they're threatened to have their credential pulled if you say anything negative about them. The bottom line is the fact that they had so many critical things to say about how they looked in camp. That's why I was alarmed. I didn't say they're going to suck this year because of what we're seeing now. It's as simple as, oh yeah, they're not looking good right now. Mm-hmm. And that triggered so many people. I don't care if the Browns look good in camp right now because it just means nothing. But I do think that when you have issues in camp, that's more alarming than not having issues in camp, if that makes sense. I hope I positioned that correctly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're in tap with what's going on in Cincinnati much more than I am, especially about the reporters. I don't know the reporters like that, and I don't know their history of being homers or not being homers or, being fanboys or whatever the case may be. I mean, I just look at it as you're going to get reports coming out of training camp for good and for bad. And I just don't want everything to be good, and I dang sure don't want everything to be bad. I want to make sure that it's an even kill, but things are looking positive as the end of camp comes, because at the end of camp comes the real season. So if guys are coming out there, I guess it kind of depends on the type of bad information you're getting. Like if you're getting information like, oh man, the guys are out of shape, that's quite alarming. To say all right, man, the receivers and the quarterback seem out of sync. Well, they should seem out of sync. Theoretically, they did one mini camp together. So those are things that can be worked on. To say oh man, our number one pass rusher, JT Watt, since I'm more informed with the Steelers, he's not practicing until he gets a contract. He's at camp, but he's not practicing. He's going to meetings and things of that nature. That's something that I'm really not worried about, because as a good faith, he's at camp, but he's not going to practice. He's not going to risk his career until he gets paid. And from all accounts, they're going to get things worked out, a la how they did with Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. So I just think that when you get the negative stuff, you can't jump over the bridge, and you dang sure can't jump over the bridge because it's positive information, because it is just that. It is practice. And it's just like you said, you are at practice. You're going half speed. You're not going 100% to the wall with everything. So it's got to be give and take. It can't be good all the time, and it can't be bad all the time, because if it's bad all the time, you better buckle up for a rough season. So there better be a balance of both.
No, and I'm with that. And I guess the other thing I want to clarify too is, what does jumping off the bridge mean? Like, people are like, oh, you're already putting a stamp on the season before it even starts. No, I'm not. Not you didn't say it, but they're not. And I say this all the time. Like I use Joey Votto as an example. When I used to criticize Joey Votto, who was hitting like 210 for the longest time, people are like, I can't believe you're going to talk about one of the best Reds of all time. That's a separate argument. We're not talking about who's one of the best Reds of all time. I'm criticizing a player for how he's playing in the now.
Right.
And in the now is what I am basing everything off of. I mean, can they be better down the road? Sure. Look at Votto. He's having his best stretch since an MVP level season in 2017. It's all about who are you now? And the Cincinnati Bengals, when I was critical of them based on their performance last week, it was based on the now. Now, when they have good stretches of practice, I'm like, well, that's good. They're taking that step forward, getting that timing down between him and Jamar Chase, offensive line getting in sync. But right now, there's way more negative than positive coming out. So what I get annoyed with is and say, yeah, yawn, wait till the regular season gets here. Then, okay, then we just won't talk any camp at all. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have people complain and say, NFL training camp going on, and you guys got nothing? Well, why talk about it at all if it all means nothing? If they are practicing now and we're giving our opinions on what they're looking like now, we can't only talk about the good and not the bad.
Right.
And if there's good, we'll talk good. If there's bad, we'll talk bad. That's the whole point of all of this. Now, what I'm saying is I actually don't care if they look good in practice because it's all about how you look in an actual game. But you cannot look good in a game if you don't even look good in practice. You can look good in practice and still look bad in a game. You can't look bad in practice and be good in a game. So that's why more emphasis is put on the alarming critical news coming out. It's not to twist a narrative. I'm not making up the fact that the offense has not looked sharp in the first week and a half of camp. You guys can get mad at me all you want. But like I said, the Browns having positive headlines come out of camp, I don't care. If they go and get the break speed off by the Chiefs in week 1, who gives a rip if for the first 5 weeks of training camp, Baker and OBJ sure look really sharp in practice. Oh, they look so good. That means nothing. But what I promise you is there's not an example out there of teams who looked bad in training camp all of a sudden won a Super Bowl or made the playoffs that year. And I don't care. And there's a difference between training camp results and preseason game results. Training camp results are what I base everything off of more than preseason game. Absolutely. You know, the starters will play 1 series or 2 in a preseason game. I don't care about the score. Shaw's too weird to understand the difference between training camp and preseason because I saw him chirping about that earlier. Exhibition games and practice are not the same thing. All right. Preseason NFL games and practice and training camp are 2 different things. So that was my point about earlier. I'm a Browns fan, and I don't get overly excited about the positives coming out of Browns camp. Jadeveon Clowney apparently in back-to-back days should have had 20 sacks in 2 days based on how he looked in 11 on 11s. I'm like, I don't care. No, I don't give a rip about that. At the end of the day, if he does that in week 1 and 2, and you get your hands on Patrick Mahomes, awesome. Then I'll care. I don't care what you're doing positively in practice because that's what you should be doing at this point. But the negative stuff is where I would be concerned about. And I don't think that makes me a bad person, Bengals fans.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes into training camps that, you and I, we wouldn't know anything about because we've never been to an NFL training camp. But there's one thing for sure, especially on the defensive end, when you're just in shells and everything like that, the defense has the upper hand, especially pass rushers, because 9 times out of 10, pass rushers are those long athletic dudes and everything like that. They use speed and everything like that, where the offensive linemen are bigger, stronger guys who like to put your hands on them. Well, guess what you can't do when you don't have pads on? You can't push and you can't block and you can't hold the pass rushers, everything like that. So it's always going to be to the defensive guys' advantage without pads on. When you put the pads on and you start out there clicking and clacking in real football, then we can talk about offense and defensive line guys battling it out, because that's when the pendulum swings to the offensive guys' side where they can start using their physicality against the defensive guys. So like I said, it's a collective for me. Yeah, we can break things down day to day and everything that's going on as we should, because, if there is knock on wood, an injury and everything like that, that's going to have a major impact on the rest of training camp and obviously what happens to a team throughout the rest of the regular season. And yes, Joe Burrow struggling is a topic because he's the former number 1 pick and he's supposed to be the savior of the Bengals. And him bouncing back is also a topic because, okay, we got to dissect and see if this is the point where, all right, Joe Burrow starts to get his feet back underneath him and starts to look like Joe Burrow of last season, everything like that. So all these things are on the table. And yes, training camp counts and it matters 1,000% because that's where you get better, getting time in with everybody out there. So, I'm not a preseason football watcher like that, but it matters not as much as the actual practices and training camps, though.
Yeah, preseason
Definitely
games,
not wins and losses.
Preseason games, throw them out the window. Those are actually for the backups. Those preseason, which is why my biggest argument has always been, those are more so to fill out the back end of the roster than it is to fill in the front end of the roster. You're not really learning a whole lot. You're learning about your depth, and you're learning about how to fill out your full roster. But you know who you mean. Trust me, the part of the season that you're addressing your starters is the draft, and of course during free agency. That's where you're in trades. Like, that's where you're really addressing your starters. You might add some for depth, like late in the draft, obviously, of course, or you could add your depth guys at the front of the draft, like the Bengals did with Jackson Carman. But at the end of the day, it's a situation where I don't put stock into preseason games like Shaw. Shaw you can make scrambled eggs with all the eggs on his weird face, because Greg Popovich was the most overrated coach in the history of the world. And Team USA, they were the worst team in the world for losing exhibition games that mean nothing because they were using different lineups. They didn't even have their full roster together because more than half their guys, that's dramatic, but a good chunk of their guys, of their main starters, were playing in the NBA finals. Shaw used zero common sense into his opinion that he put out there. And then look, you get all those guys back, and Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches of all time, makes a couple tweaks, and all of a sudden they win gold. So this is why Shaw, I don't take anything you say serious.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have 0 preseason games, none at all, and all those preseason games be replaced with days of practice, or keep it status quo?
Look, coaches will tell you the preseason games needed to fill out a full roster, but at the end of the day, those games, when you look at ticket prices, they're the same prices for preseason games as regular. We all know the purpose of preseason games, which is why the NFL, when they eliminated a preseason game, they just added a regular season game on the back end. Like, those are more done for the NFL to try to make as much money off of. Part of the TV deals, preseason games are included.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's expensive to run an ad in a preseason football game. So, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, that was all done for money. I have a hard time believing that if you eliminated the preseason games themselves, that the quality of football would just diminish. Because let's be honest, weeks 1 and 2, that's always where you see the most penalties. That's always where you see the most sloppy play, is because, honestly, the starters for the first time are getting their feet wet against new competition because they're not getting their feet wet in preseason games. It's 4:30 here in the Miami Valley. You're listening to the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. He's Kev Nash. I'm Justin Kinner. 518-1410. That's the number to please call in. Ron Moreland says, newsflash, Browns release Baker Fairfield. Okay, Ron, if you're going to take shots, you got to learn how to spell correctly. I mean, my goodness, this doesn't even make sense. You're all over the place. You literally make zero sense. You're going to have to do better. If you're going to come at me, you have to do a much better job. He goes on, Justin, please get in. Okay, you almost spelled these all right. You just forgot to capitalize Browns, but that's fine. Justin, please get a Browns rep on your show or a former player. What would that do? Would that make you feel better? No, you would just move on to the next thing. Let's see. The American poodle scooper is fake as his poodle bark, more like a whining dog in pain. All right. This is making no sense at all. This is why I can't take you guys seriously. I have no idea what's going on, Kev. I need to hit the reset button. We're going to step away. I want your thoughts on Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen on the other side. Congrats to Josh Allen on getting paid. Who's next? Lamar, Baker, Kev? Let me ask you this: yes or no? And we'll debate on the other side. Will Josh Allen a year from now be the highest paid of those three?
No.
All right, we'll debate next. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
For today, mostly cloudy skies and scattered thunder showers, a high of 85 degrees. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 75 degrees. And for your Tuesday, scattered thunder showers and a high of 90 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at CulletSealCoating.com.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. Sign up by August 15th for a health plan. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center brings the courthouse to the community with its weekly outreach programs to local churches, libraries, and community centers. We help you navigate the legal system. Find a location near you at courthouse2u.com. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley. Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Sales Manager Jason High of Germain Honda Beaver Creek. Personally, inviting you to take advantage of the 0% financing on the Honda HR-V, Passport, and Pilot. Germain Honda has over 200 new Hondas to choose from, including the redesigned 2021 Honda Ridgeline and the 2022 Honda Odyssey, plus over 30 of the brand new 2022 Honda Civics to choose from. Now that's a selection no one else in the region can claim. Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Hello, I'm Mike Liddell, inventor of My Pillow, here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Go to mypillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code SKY, S-K-Y, for this amazing special, or call 800-635-1825 and use promo code SKY.
Staples Connect has everything to help you get ready for back to school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Visit your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com, and be more than ready for school. Staples.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kim and Kev Nash hanging out with you here on a Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Got Reds baseball tonight. Reds in Cleveland go head-to-head tonight. 6:10 the first pitch, 5:40 the pregame. So the show will be cut short. Everyone wins. Hoping the Reds win tonight. Kev going for Cleveland, of course, rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. How come? By the way, Kev's a Cleveland Guardians fan.
Yes, sir.
How come he's not a hater? Why can he cheer on another team from Cleveland, but when I do it, I'm a hater? He don't like the Reds. Now he talks about the Reds. He supports the Reds coverage on the show. He even, imagine having to watch a team you don't like, but he does it for the job. He does it for you. He does it to combat me. He does it to prove me wrong. He does it to bring sense to the show. But that doesn't make him a hater. I don't understand.
Don't be trying to put no heat on me, man.
Kev Nash hates the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, my goodness,
Definitely
folks.
Definitely tonight.
So when I like the Cleveland team over the Cincinnati team in football, I'm the devil, me.
I'm born
Maybe
and
we're
raised.
about even.
I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, man. Born and raised. That's
I was the devil for being a Cowboys fan. I was born in Texas.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you.
Then I moved to Ohio, and I followed an Ohio team. And because I didn't pick the team that who was an hour south of here, I went with the better team. I mean, I'm dumb. Oh yeah, you should pick the worst team. That makes sense. I'm just saying.
Man, oh man. Heard of some Jim Brown talk on the Facebook
dude,
page.
but none of this even makes sense. Oh, Kev talks respectfully, coming from the biggest jerk in all the chat section over here, and David Shaw. This is Shaw coming to the rescue. Ay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and Jake Whiting, thank you, Jake Whiting, one of my favorite Bengals fans. Says, so how are you a Steelers fan and not a Browns fan born in Cleveland? Exactly, Jake. Actually, you know what? I don't think I've ever asked you. I've just, I've always accepted you for who you are, flaws and all. So.
I appreciate that. Well, my mom and my brother are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, so that's how I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And to my grandmother's credit, she was not going to have me be rooting for any other team in baseball. She was like, you're from Cleveland. You're going to root for one of these Cleveland teams. And she suckered me and my brother into going to a ton of Cleveland baseball team games when we were kids. And the Cleveland baseball team was so bad in the 80s that, when you're learning how to keep score of a baseball game, she taught us backwards on purpose because my grandmother was a big baseball fan growing up when she was younger and everything like that. So she told us the error column was a scoring column. So in my little dumb brain as a kid, I used to think the Indians were a great baseball team because they always had more E's than everybody else instead of R's. And everybody knows E's are for errors. And, in those 80s days, like when Corey Snyder and those type of guys were playing on the Cleveland baseball team, they were terrible. And tickets were like $5. Like you were going to a Major League Baseball game for like $5. Good seats too. And I was fooled until, I don't know, maybe I was like, how old are you when you're like in fifth grade? Like 12?
I know how tall I was in fifth grade.
Like 11 or 12 until I really started to pay attention and we started to learn how to play baseball like in elementary school until I realized like, that's wrong. She's been lying to me all this time. But now I'm a fan. I can't dump on them now. I'm rooting for them.
You can.
I could have bailed, but I didn't. I love my grandma too much. So go Cleveland baseball team. Go Guardians. Win me a World Series in my lifetime, please.
Jason Campos says, right on, Kev.
Hey, man. You can't go against your grandma. Can't go against my grandma. I even kind of watched the Browns. I was even kind of happy the Browns were having a good season last year. Just
until the seating kind of positioned.
Until they played my team, and then it was all hands off. Hey, Grandma, sorry. Hope you lose. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but my favorite image of that game is Big Ben with his hands in his hand warmer, sitting on the bench, nobody around him, just staring at the ground. Like, how did it come to this? Hoisting trophies early in my career to having the Browns of all teams potentially put me out of my misery, and he wants some more.
Stop wants some more. To the other team.
That's true.
Don't throw it to the other team.
Oofa. I still can't believe
you don't sit down like that and you don't throw it to the other team.
I'm still slowly getting my voice back from the crack of the scream that I made whenever the over the head snap into the end zone to
dude. that was so
the craziest
bad.
thing.
Like
that was so nuts, man. Like
I didn't even get down, sit on the couch good yet. I would grab some pizza from the kitchen.
I had just taken it out of the oven. I literally just
sit down and the snap goes over Prince and the Browns and the start. What? And my wife, who is a Browns fan, and my father-in-law, who's a Browns fan, and my dad's a Browns fan, my uncle is a Browns. Both my uncles are Browns fan. Phone is going ballistic the entire game. But like when Pittsburgh made that mini comeback, phone got real silent. And as soon as we punted, and I love Coach Tomlin, and I think he's a great coach. That was one of the few times that I disagree with him, because the game was like, I want to say like a 7-point lead for the Browns at this time, started the fourth quarter, and the Steelers were at the 50 and they punted. And it was like a 4th and 3. And I was like, just go for it, dude. Go for it. But I know what he was betting on. He was going to bet on the defense. But to the Browns' credit, they converted a 3rd down. They busted a long run with Nick Chubb to put the game on ice. So, the better team won.
And look, and by the way, and Shaw says, hey, Justin, when you became a Browns fan, weren't the Bengals the better team? Yeah, but the dumber fan base. They're the only fan base I know that never got excited about wins. Like when the Bengals would win in the regular season, it was like, yeah, well, they got to win in the playoffs, which, by the way, that's a good mentality to have. Yeah, but like you can't enjoy the whole thing. And like at the end of the day, this was a team that, the blackout rule and everything like that. I mean, you couldn't even get your games locally. It drove me nuts. And by the way, when I lived in Van Wert, we got all Browns games. So I would watch the bad Browns team. But the one thing I always loved about the Browns was the passionate fan base. I will never, ever, ever, there's nothing out there that rivals that. In the NFL, at least. I mean, there is the dumb fan base of the Bills that they light themselves on fire and jump through tables, and then that's a dumb fan base. I'll take the Bengals fan base over the Bills fan base. I mean, the Bills fan base has to be one of the dumbest ones. Oh, yeah, I'm going to show my team how much I love them. I'm going to light myself on fire and jump through a table. I mean, my goodness.
Shouts out to the Bills Mafia.
Thanks
for tuning in, because they found us last summer.
No, they found us now. My YouTube keeps going off because the people are going back and say, "Oh yeah, what do you have to say now?" I think your team overpaid for your quarterback. That's what I have to say.
They're back. Bills Mafia was good.
They are back for more, which is totally fine. All right. Okay. I don't even know where the hell this was supposed to go. Well, let me check my rundown here. But by the way, 518-1410. We're live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinder Show, YouTube, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Let's go. Now, shots are fired here. David Shaw says Bills fan base is the Ohio State fan base of the NFL.
Uh-oh.
Shocker here, David, but we disagree. Let's see. Robert Miller says if the defense is any good, they can see what play is coming. And they're arguing still about the importance of preseason versus training camp. I'm going to recap this, and then we're done with this conversation, at least for the time being. I put zero stock into preseason games. I put a lot more stock into these reports coming out of camp. You are learning way more about your team in these days of practice than you are in preseason games. You just are. Part of the preparation for preseason games, like I read that, so the Bengals are off today, and then they're going to go into a lighter day tomorrow moving forward to get, to simulate the game prep week. Like they're going to be going through this week like they would any week during the regular season, which, by the way, that's smart because, it's all about getting in a rhythm. It's all about getting into the groove of things. And that's fine. I understand that completely, but that's why there's more value in this week leading into the preseason game than the actual preseason game itself. You learn nothing in the preseason outside of maybe, do you have a backup quarterback that looks the part? Maybe the depth of your offensive line, maybe some skill position players look good, but then you start questioning, kind of like what we did with the Reds earlier, the quality of the opponent. How do you learn who's who? When guys have big numbers in the preseason, it's kind of hard to say, well, is that because they're really, really good, or was that for the lack of resistance on the defense kind of being put up against them? Or if guys in the second, third string, who are fighting for the last couple roster spots, if they have big defensive outings, is it because they're really, really great? Like that's why hats off to the scouts and to the coaches, because they're evaluating things I can't see. Right. I'm not going to pretend to be that radio host that, oh man, I was watching the offensive line the other day and man, they look sharp. I don't know what the hell. All I know is I know what an offensive line doesn't look like. Tune into a Bengals game. I know what a good offensive line looks like. Tune in to a Browns game. It's very simple. You can learn a lot between the Browns and the Bengals, and they've helped me with my football knowledge along the way. I know what not to do and what to do. The Browns are what to do. The Bengals are what not to do. It's very simple. But at the end of the day, I put zero stock into preseason games. What are you shaking your head for?
You wonder why.
Well, I wonder why. I'm just saying, Jake Whiting says Auden Tate is a prime example, always a camp MVP making crazy catches, but it comes to a real game, he's okay. And Jake, that's why I said earlier, I don't put stock into positive reports coming out of camp, even for my Browns. My Browns apparently are kicking ass in camp, and I'm sleeping good at night, not because of it. I'm sleeping good at night in spite of it. Now, if the Browns were having a horrible camp, I would be losing sleep. I'd be worried. I'd be concerned. I wouldn't be doing what Bengals fans do, where I try to spin everything into a positive and say, well, it's only camp. No. Flaws are flaws, and those flaws always come back to haunt you down the road. And if you're not seeing a pattern of addressing those flaws, then you should be concerned. Simple as that. Okay, Kev, what do we got? It is almost 5 o'clock. We got the Reds coming up here around the corner. How about this? We had so 2 more Arizona State Sun Devils coaches are put on paid leave amid the NCAA investigation. Here's why I have a problem with how the NCAA does business, Kev. If Ohio State was being looked into for violations, they wouldn't look very hard, because they know that they're there. Mm-hmm. Just like they're there at Alabama, just like they are there at the big programs out there. They don't want to come down on Ohio State or Alabama, right?
Right.
When you are Arizona or Arizona State, those are the programs you have to look out for, because if Arizona State disappeared or Arizona, those programs, the NCAA moves on. It's not like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the end of the world. And I'm not saying that they don't need them, but at the same time, they use these programs to set an example.
Right.
You know, on the box cutter episode of Breaking Bad, that could be Arizona. That's what the NCAA is doing right now. They find a guy that's within the umbrella of their organization, and then it's the box cutter episode where, oh man, we got Walt and Jesse's attention now. That could be us. And that's just to show that they have authority, but they really aren't going to come down on the powers that be. Really stupid analogy, but I'm back in my Ozark and Breaking Bad kick, so there it is. But I just find this interesting. And you know what? I was wrong on something. Herm Edwards apparently is up to some shady stuff. But at the end of the day, this is why college athletics, if Herm Edwards is put in a position to cheat, because I think he's one of the good guys, Kev, I really do. If he's put in a position to cheat, that's because there's no other way. Right? Like, I'm not trying to get into a heated, not with you, but with people. Herm Edwards is one of the good guys, man. He bleeds just a positive energy. Like, I've always loved having Herm on. But I remember having Herm on a few years ago, and I said, I don't ever get the vibe that you're a guy that does things the wrong way, that you are you down the middle, you follow the rules. Do you feel that puts you at a disadvantage by not being willing to bend the rules in the recruiting trail? Do you feel like that would put you at a disadvantage? I wish I had the audio, but he gave me the typical spiel. No, it's all about doing the right way, getting the right men, the right culture, the stuff that every coach says, but is all BS. But he's one of the few guys I actually believe when I hear it. No offense to Ryan Day and Nick Saban, and they're all full of crap. They know what's happening behind closed doors. They know what's happening behind their back. They know. Okay. So in this situation, there was one of the few coaches I actually believed was doing the right thing. If Herm Edwards has to pull the stunts that are being pulled at Arizona State, trust me, it's the only way to do it. You cannot do it the right way. In fact, find me a team that's doing it the right way. I would love to know, but no one is. And I'm not really judging those teams. It's the survival of the fittest, right? Like, we're all going to be put in that position where your moral compass will be tested. And I think Herm Edwards, of all coaches out there who was put in a position to bend the rules, he knew, well, I'm going to lose my job if I don't bend the rules because we're not going to win. And if I bend the rules and we win, that at least gives me it's the steroids, Ali. It's the steroid thing in a baseball where, hey, I'm going to be cut if I don't take the steroids, but if I take the steroids, at least gives me a chance to make the team and to make money. Herm Edwards, I don't want to cheat, but if I don't cheat, I'll get fired because I'll lose. And if I cheat, it gives me a chance to win and keep coaching. It's unfortunate, but if he, of all coaches, has to cheat, I'm sorry, there's not a coach out there that can do it the right way, because he's a guy that I truly believe is a good person down to the bone that wouldn't cheat unless he has to. I think this situation is unfortunate.
For me, I think that all programs that dabble in the world of big time college football that actually are trying to win national championships and, put a ton of guys in the NFL, everything like that, all of them are dirty, and all the coaches know it. Like, this whole plausible deniability, turning a blind eye. If you turn a blind eye to it, you're culpable as well. And hey, I like Herm Edwards just like everybody else. But let's be clear, I don't know Herm Edwards. I don't know him. I don't know what he's doing in his house. I don't know what he's doing in his spare time. He'd be a mass murderer for all I know. I don't know these dudes, man. So I'm not going to jump out there and be like, oh, man, I can't believe that he did. Man, who I can't believe is when they don't come up dirty. That's what I believe. When dudes don't come up dirty,
when that pee test comes back clean, you're like,
that's when I'm shocked.
For you.
That's when I'm shocked. Like, I mean, I'm just being real, man. Like you talked about, man, if you want to win at big time college football, you need to recruit the best players. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of the best players come with stuff. Is that stuff I'm coming with my hands out, coach, or are they coming with a situation that, their handler needs their palms greased? Is their high school coach going to be a part of your staff now and everything like that, a part of your shadow staff and everything like that? Look, man, all these boosters, they're more than willing to give these people money. They want to give people money. They want to be a part of the in crowd. Like, why do you think that's the University of Miami is the hotbed for NLI? Like, for everybody, not just like the star players, like everything that's happening at Alabama and what seems to be happening at Ohio State. Like, the star players are getting money, but like the backups to the backups are getting money down in Miami. Like, people love to be down with the cool kids and they want to be involved in everything like that. So they don't have any hesitation of finding a booster to cough up money. to get a guy that's a 4 or 5 star recruit to come to their school. And that's at any school. So when they don't come up dirty, that's when I'm surprised, to be perfectly honest. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. And just because personally, like, I'm not going to put somebody in a category as they're a bad human being if they bend the rules of the NCAA. I'm not going to do that because let's be perfectly clear. I don't think the NCAA knows all the rules of the NCAA
because they move them. They move the goal. They're the king of moving the goalpost.
Yeah. So like, the rules are the rules, guys of the world. You better watch out because your program could be next.
Yep. The rules are the rules until you have to put a mask on. The rules are the rules until the rules are the rules until you got to get a vaccine. And then it's like, well, except that rule because that rule sucks. God. Yeah, that was my next point. Like about, I don't think these coaches are bad people. Like there's such a negative connotation with the cheating that goes on in college athletics. But like the bottom line is if you get the only difference between the coaches who cheat and don't is the fact that one's got caught and the other hasn't. Mm-hmm. Everyone's doing it. There's programs here in town that do. Like, and there's not, you could say I'm taking a shot at them. No, if you think that they're not, holy smokes, I got some timeshare units I want to sell you here after the show.
And there's levels to it.
And there's levels to it. There's, everyone has, eyes that they can close. Everyone has a neck that they can move side to side and look the other way.
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
Like stuff that
everyone has control of media in town to make sure that the stuff that they do and violate the rules doesn't get out to the general public. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that happen.
Like the things that went on at Baylor, with sexual assault and things like that. Things that went on at LSU with sexual assault when Les Miles was there. Like those are the type of things that you're a bad person. Like giving a kid $500, whatever. But turning a blind eye to sexual assault, that makes you a bad person. That is unexplainable. That is unforgivable. So like those coaches that turn a blind eye to that or swept those things under the rug, yeah, I do have a problem with that. But like, bending the rules to get a recruit, bending the rules to do that, this, that, and the third, that's just playing ball. That's just playing ball how it's played in the almighty SEC and how it's played in the almighty Big Ten. You're trying to win football games. But when you're doing things of that nature with sexual assault and cover-ups, like that's a real problem, not freaking tattoos for goodness sakes.
But don't get tattoos if you're not allowed.
Rules are the rules.
Yeah, it is what it is. Keith Tolliver says, you are so right, Justin. Rules are rules until the mask. LOL. So funny when you bring that up. It's like, but I don't want to. David Shaw, of course, he didn't like the mask. He says, my body, my choice. So that doesn't apply here. Oh, stop. You know what? Never mind. We'll be back. Shaw, follow them rules. Only the rules you want to follow, though. If there's any rules you don't like, don't follow them. But when other people break rules that you agree with, make sure you shame them for not following. I just want to make sure you're following everybody else's rules. Just saying. All right, folks, we'll be back. Let's talk Lamar Jackson, shall we? Let's talk Baker Mayfield. Everyone loves Baker Mayfield, except Kev and Shaw and Keith Tolliver and Robert Miller and, Ron Moreland. I think Ron Moreland on here, he's a big Baker Mayfield fan. We got so much in Hour 3 coming up, plus Reds baseball just over an hour from now. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic Round Stick Ballpoint Pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school. You'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for school. Pens 918, limit 30 on Crayola. Big Pens in store only.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Dutch Boy DuraClean exterior paint and primer in ones, durable weather-resistant coating stays clean and keeps your home looking beautiful. A gallon of flat paint is $29.79 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through August 14th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Manion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Manion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismanion.org. That's travismanion.org.
The thing about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. We probably don't even need the words, the Name Your Price tool, to tell you that our humpback whale pup gives you options based on your budget, or that our novelty hand buzzer helps you save on car insurance. And that's the thing about the tiny felt bag filled with marbles. At this point, you've heard a lot of ads about the elusive northern bobcat. The Name Your Price tool, the neighbor who baked you banana bread, only from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey, welcome to Everything Outdoors. Can I help you find anything?
Hey, yeah. Can you point us to the camping gear?
Sure, aisle 2.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry.
Aisle 18.
And the boats?
Are you sure you can do all this?
Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugged in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capability varies by configuration. See Nissan Owner's Manual for proper use.
It's Wendy's BOGO $1. Get a Dave single plus another favorite for just $1 more. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Restrictions apply.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic round stick ballpoint pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be prepared parent of the year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for school. Pens 918, limit 30 on Crayola. Bic pens in store only.
Staples Connect has everything you need for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, save $55 on the TI-84 Plus CE graphing calculator. It's just $99.99, our lowest price of the season. With savings like that, your student won't just be ready for school, they'll be first day of school pop quiz ready.
It's showtime.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for back to school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Ends 8/14. Limit 2 per customer. In store only.
Greatness. It's not born of coincidence. It's not a product of luck. It's forged through dedication, drills, and the acquisition of new skills. Wanting won't get you there, but sweat equity just might.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street wants to wish the Dayton Flyers Red Scare the best of luck in their journey through the basketball tournament. Wear red, be loud, go Flyers!
Hi folks, it's me again, and I'm cooking in the sun just like you are. But you know, you can still plant those trees and shrubs right now, and with proper watering, still gain a full summer's growth. We keep our garden center fully stocked all summer long with thousands of good, healthy trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and annuals, because we know that some folks just can't get it all done in the spring. Also, this time of the year, there are lots of bargains all over our 6-acre nursery and greenhouses. We have potted rose bushes as low as $8.95, flats of annuals starting at $8.95, and hanging baskets starting at $6.95. We still have a great selection of Rose of Sharon, boxwoods, hydrangeas, and barberry, and lots of ponds, pottery, and statuary. So come on out to 1309 Brand Pike, and remember, we're open 7 days.
It's Wendy's BOGO $1. Get a Dave single plus another favorite for just $1 more. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Restrictions apply.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And, well, I'm not making this up, but a couple reports are coming out now that there's starting to be some concerns within Bengals camp that Jamar Chase is not creating the separation that they had anticipated. Now, again, it's, 13 days into training camp, or less than that even, whatever. I don't know what that means yet. There are guys who, if you like, basketball is always my go-to. But there's guys who they always talk about, like in practice, they're not very good in practice. There's just, there's some things that, like, a lot of times the separation comes from I'm defending him here. I don't think that that's the case at all. Like when the Bengals selected Jamar Chase, I had a problem with who they didn't take versus who they did take, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, both could be true. Like, the Bengals got one hell of a talent versus, like, they got one hell of a talent, but they didn't pick the right. I still don't think they made the right pick. They needed to fix that low line, but I'm done with that narrative. The bottom line is, I know Jamar Chase is talented. There are guys who sometimes when you're in a training camp simulation, you're not in a stadium with 20,000+ people, Kev, surrounding you. I just feel like I'm not going to judge the separation of Jamar Chase in these simulated practices until you see what it's like when you're on the field and the lights are on and the fans are there and you're feeling the juice and the excitement. Like, I just think a lot of times, especially in basketball and football, sometimes it's not just the momentum, but it's the feeling that you get within a game that brings out a different side of you. I'm not concerned yet. That report right there, I'm not going to jump on it too much, but I did find it interesting that the one reason they did draft him was because of that separation to be able to create that number one down the field threat. And that's the other reason I haven't been critical of Joe Burrow during the stretches. Joe Burrow's struggles are strictly from his knee, but maybe Jamar Chase is not he's not bringing to the table what they had anticipated. But again, a week and a half into camp, I'm not going to put any stock into that. I'm just reading what the report is saying coming out right now, that some Bengals officials are a little concerned when it comes to that. So I'll leave it at that. But I mean, your thoughts?
It's a lot. It's especially for him. He didn't play football last year. So playing football and working out are two totally different things. I know he's in shape in regular people's terms, but is he in football shape? Does he have his football legs underneath him? Did he lose a step by taking a whole year off from playing football? That remains to be seen. I would imagine not. He's only like 21 years old. So like just getting that back into your game, getting that burst back in your game, that's something that needs to be looked at. You know what I'm saying? Those are going to take time. That's going to take time and everything like that. But another thing is, like, I would encourage people to go back and look at, some of his highlights from LSU. A lot of rub routes, a lot of lining up in the slot. And I don't really get too football oriented and everything like that, like I'm Keith Byers or anything like that. But there's a huge difference between playing outside the numbers and inside the numbers as a wide receiver. There's a huge difference. Like, nobody's playing press man coverage from the slot. You know what I'm saying? They like you working underneath with the linebackers and everything like that. They lined them up all over the place at LSU. They lined them out wide. They lined them in the slot. They lined them, motion them out the backfield, a lot of tunnel screens and things of that nature. So, you can't just simply rely on everything that you saw him do at the college level and say that's automatically going to translate to the NFL level. You have to project. You have to hope, kind of, because, like, if I'm a Bengals fan, this is what I'm worried about. I'm worried that Jamar Chase is going to be like Peter Warrick was when he got to the Bengals. Peter Warrick, probably the best college football receiver I've ever seen in my life at Florida State, was outstanding. But he was more quick than fast, and he wasn't able to get lots of separation from defensive backs. But then once Chad got there and they started motioning Peter Warrick and getting him off that tough bump and run coverage so he could use his quickness underneath, he blossomed and became a good receiver and always was a good return man for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, like, you don't want that again, because I believe the Bengals drafted Peter Warrick like in the top 5 as well. You don't want that. Like, as much as I love P-Dub, as great a receiver as he was at Florida State and everything like that, you don't want to draft a slot receiver in the top 5. And that would be my nightmare if I'm a Bengals fan, that Jamar Chase is a slot receiver.
No, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that. And like I said, everyone thinks I'm always looking for something to jump on them with. I'm not going to until we, like, everything in football, everything like basketball, your talent, you could bring a lot to the table and not be as dependent on somebody else. I think Obi Toppin's talent is dependent on playing with a good point guard. I do think that there are some players who have to be dependent on, and that's not a bad thing, by the way, but like Kenyon Martin was like that in the NBA. Kenyon Martin needed the Chauncey Billups or the Allen Iverson to play alongside. He needed the Jason Kidd to play alongside to be Kenyon Martin. I think Obi's that, except Obi's developing a much better jump shot than Kenyon Martin. But my point is that sometimes talent isn't talent talent unless you have the piece around you to be able to bring it out. Well, that one piece is the quarterback that he had his most success with at LSU in college, and that's Joe Burrow. The problem is Joe Burrow is focused on more than just the team chemistry at this point. He wants to make sure that he can trust his knee to be able to step into the pocket, even with moving pieces around him, guys who are trying to take him out. He's trying to adjust to that. And so all the focus isn't on him. Like, for instance, the Browns right now, I'm reading every time that there is a timeout out on the field or there's any kind of break in the action at all, him and OBJ, they run off to a little private part of the field and they start running routes together. And they're, pass and catch. They're just trying to get that timing down. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, they're not even there yet. They can't even get to that point because right now the big emphasis is just getting Burrow comfortable enough to step in the pocket to deliver a ball. So for me, as someone who is always looking for something to be critical of in the eyes of most, I'm not going there with this. I think that Jamar will be fine. I mean, my goodness, the kid's a freak athlete. Every time I see pictures of him standing next to his teammates who are also big freak athletes, he pops, man. He just stands out. Like, he has star power written all over him. So I will leave it at that. I'm not going to go any further into that, but I did find that interesting. So while you were out, Kev, the big news hit that Josh Allen gets $43 million a year. Big contract extension, and it was really to the surprise of nobody because unlike the Dak Prescott and the Deshaun Watson and the Aaron Rodgers type ordeals where there's a lot of, where there's a lot of back and forth and negotiations and holdouts and stuff, like this was actually a very clean deal. Like, and like no one was surprised about the Chiefs. When the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes got their deal done, he MVP, rookie of the year, MVP his first year. Then when second year, not first year rookie of the year, but the MVP the first year, gets the Super Bowl, wins it the second year, gets back to the Super Bowl in the third year. It was no damn wonder he got paid, right? Like that didn't surprise anybody. Josh Allen, that still didn't surprise anybody because there was no talks or rumblings of there being any kind of discord between him, his agent, and the front office of the Bills. They got it done. And as just like any draft class, like that's why, the draft is so fun, is because a lot of these guys will always be linked together. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen will always be linked together because they came in that same draft class. Sam Darnold, even if he has a good year, he will never be looked at with a lot of respect, and I shouldn't say respect, but he'll never be given the benefit of the doubt because if a good year for him, if he's not looking at least like Baker Mayfield or Lamar or Josh Allen, then, he's being judged by his peers within that draft class. So when you look at this draft class, Josh Allen gets drafted by the Bills, who was a playoff team. They traded up, drafted him. And of course, then he's the guy, and he showed gradual steps, getting better and better each season, right? Then he has that near MVP caliber season last year. Lamar Jackson, he's drafted by a playoff team in the Ravens, but they were well on their way to letting go of Harbaugh, and Flacco looked like, old Flacco, right? Like the margin of error for Flacco was so slim that there was no room for him to have off days and the Ravens still win. They were very dependent on him, being very, very good, or at least good enough to where they could be in position to win. But he takes over, and all of a sudden it's a much different ballgame in Baltimore. They make the playoffs every year. He's been there. They've won the division. Finally got a playoff win last year. But there are still he's so exciting with the strength of his game that we overlook, or at least some do, overlook his flaws, and he can't throw the football that well. Baker Mayfield, great rookie year, breaks Peyton Manning's touchdown record as a rookie, of course, then takes a step back in year 2, huge step in year 3, cuts down on the turnovers, has a huge second half of the season. Even I was ready to say, hey, they need to think about what their plan is at quarterback. If he keeps averaging under 200 yards passing and only 20 passing attempts a game, the Browns need to check some things. Baker looked like an actual real top 10 quarterback in the second half of the season. These 3 quarterbacks are always going to be, graded on the same curve, on the same level, right? You see Josh Allen get that major deal, $43 million a year, second highest paid quarterback in the league. On average, Patrick Mahomes, and again, his contract's wonky, on average, $45 million a year. Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, they're up next. And again, pay doesn't always equal talent, because when you start looking at the top 10 quarterbacks paid in the league, I mean, you look at Jared Goff, he's right there in the middle. He's paid a lot of money. I wouldn't take him over anybody else in that top 10. That's for sure. There's guys on the outside of the top 10 that I'll take over Jared Goff as far as I'm concerned. Now, with that being said, $43 million, did the Bills pay too much? And is that the bar that Baker is going to start at with his negotiations and Lamar Jackson? Will anyone make more? Will anyone get a higher payday than that, in your opinion?
Both Lamar and Baker will get 40 plus. And I think ultimately I think Lamar will probably end up getting basically exactly what Josh Allen got, but both dudes will get the going rate. The new going rate is $40+ million. And that's the new going rate for a starting quality starter in the NFL at the quarterback position. That's what they're going to get. And did they overpay? No, because that's what the going rate is. Like you just talked about with Jared Goff, he got paid a lot of money and he's a little bit above average, but that's the going rate. And there's no going back to the days of like, all right, man, just like the Tom Brady thing, him taking like discounts. Those guys are far and few between. Like, Tim Duncan was like one of the first guys still in his prime to start on the tail end of his prime to start taking discounts so he can get more teammates around. These dudes, especially on their first time getting paid, they want to get paid.
It's their take it.
You got to, because this is the NFL, man. Like something could go very wrong for you playing football. Like I know we rarely see it. Like we rarely see dudes like get catastrophic injuries and everything like that. But it can all end at a practice. It could all end in a game. So they need to cash out. Baker needs to cash out. Lamar needs to cash out, and rightfully so. So overpay, no, that's the going rate, and it is what it is. And I think that ultimately that Lamar probably will get about exactly what Josh Allen got. Probably like maybe $1 million more, because that's how the NFL works. Whoever is the highest paid guy now isn't going to be the highest paid guy once the next guy gets a contract. So he'll be at $44 million a year or something like that. But all three of them are going to be at above $40 million. And the whole talk that I don't know where this started, but my brother's best friend, he sent me an article about Baker Mayfield and why he should take less. Because his family comes from money and he doesn't need it. Whoever wrote that article is a bonehead, because what Baker Mayfield's parents made, that ain't his money. Why is it? What? No, this is his money. He's earning this. So what if he comes from money? That ain't got nothing to do with what he's earning right now. So Baker Mayfield, he's going to get his 40 and he deserves it.
Yeah, and by the way,
I'll send that to you. I'll send it to you.
And by the way,
it's a crazy article, man.
It's dumb to tell any athlete to take less money. However, what you cannot ignore is that, people talk, and I said this the other day about the Patriot way. Doesn't mean that this is how it has to be, but the Patriot way, they're trying to figure out this great mystery. What was the Patriot way? It's as simple as your quarterback took less money.
Right.
That's the Patriot way. But with that being said, I mean, look, that's the one way. If you want to talk about all the different ways to win, the NBA, you talked about Tim Duncan. It's no secret as to why they were able to, and it's not because, Tim Duncan took less money, so they went out and got another star. No, the money that they saved on Tim Duncan's contract, they went and got the best role players. Mm-hmm. And that's why they continued all the way they did. The Patriots, same thing. They never went and got the sexiest names to put with Tom Brady, but rather than one big sexy name like the Browns got OBJ, imagine the 3 or 4 solid names you could have got, or at least 2 solid names you could have got for OBJ's contract for that, which is why I wasn't a big fan of on paper, it looks awesome, man. Baker, OBJ, your number one. But you didn't need that. That was a luxury. That wasn't a necessity, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, this is a situation where the Patriot way was Tom Brady taking less money, but that's not going to, that's a pipe dream. That's never going to happen. Not every quarterback in the league is always going to take less. And if the Browns have to pay Baker 40, then so be it. If the Ravens have to pay Lamar, then so be it. But at the same time, when you talk about negotiations, in our jobs and anybody's jobs, when you sit down for contract negotiations, it's going to be the reality of what money they have and don't have, mm-hmm. and your strengths and weaknesses, and do your strengths outweigh your weaknesses? And Baker is his weakness. By the way, his weakness is turning it over. If that is who he is last year, only 8 interceptions, man, that does make up a lot for not averaging close to 300 passing yards a game, right? Like that's a huge difference. But 1 year of that, we need to see more. When you look at Lamar, my big thing on Lamar, and I like Lamar Jackson, I've been a supporter of Lamar Jackson, but at the same time, to justify paying him, who has an MVP, who all he does is win. Sometimes it's not about those blanketed things of, you won an MVP and we win a lot, so here's the money. Sometimes it's, okay, your flaws outweigh your strengths at certain points, especially as the contract goes on. Baker just needs to be Baker in the Browns are fine. Lamar has to be more than just Lamar at times. Otherwise, they're not going to get to that Super Bowl. I mean, you can't have a quarterback ever. At the end of the day, I know what he can do with his legs. But you can't be a quarterback that can't average more than 200 passing yards a game and request the same money as a Josh Allen and the other top quarterbacks in the league, even though, and I said this on Friday and pissed people off, I said, Lamar Jackson could do things that Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and everybody in the league can't do. The problem is pretty much everybody in the league at quarterback could do what Lamar can't, and that's throw. And that's going to be the big thing. Lamar's more interesting to me than Baker because we know as a better football player, Lamar is a way better football player than Baker. But Baker is a little bit of a safer player than Lamar because, not saying he can't get hurt, but like at the end of the day, he could throw a football. We don't know what Lamar's reasons for not being able to throw a football are yet. We're going to find out this year. They go out and get Sammy Watkins. They get the kid from Purdue. They have, Hollywood Higgins there. They feel pretty good. We'll see. But at the end of the day,
there's no question he has flaws to his game. There's no question that he needs to improve. The deep ball is there. The intermediate pass isn't there. Like the check down is there. He reads defenses good, but the intermediate passing game, like those passes in between 8 to 15 yards, he's not accurate on. Those passes need to be cleaned up, especially when he takes those passes across the middle. Like he throws a lot of grounders when he's throwing it across the middle. He needs to clean those up. And the thing about it is, if you take back a look back in history at like quarterbacks that use their legs, a la like a Steve Young was not a pinpoint accurate quarterback either. And he developed in, like, if you ask somebody that only you've seen Steve Young play with the 49ers, they'd be like, oh man, he was dropping dimes left and right. But if you ask somebody that like saw Steve Young play in the USFL or play in his Tampa Bay Buccaneer days, they'd be like, oh man, he was just a running back that could throw a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like the same development that Josh Allen had, because stat-wise, Lamar Jackson, outside of last year, is a more accurate passer than Josh Allen. So if we can see Josh Allen take that leap in his accuracy, I don't see why we can't say that Lamar Jackson can take that leap. To pigeonhole people and to say, like, all right, who they are right now is who they're going to be going into the future. I think that's a little much for me. Like, we're going to see if he can do it, because like you said, they did go and get Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota.
Minnesota, not Purdue. I kept saying Purdue, Minnesota. Okay.
Good enough.
Big Ten.
Big Ten. Yeah, it's cold there too. And everything like that. Hollywood Brown, is he going to stop dropping the ball? Like, those are things too. Like Hollywood Higgins, goodness, I just did what you did. Hollywood Brown has to stop dropping passes.
I said Higgins. I did say Higgins. Yeah, man, I'm butchering this left and right, man.
He has to stop dropping the ball and everything like that. So it's a lot to be cleaned up. But the difference between, for me and Lamar, like, he's responsible for everything. Like, he's responsible for the passing game. He's a big part of the running game, and not just him running the ball, them running the zone read or having a zone read action to keep that outside linebacker out the mix. When you keep one person out of the box because you have to keep him on that edge because Lamar may keep it, that's one less man in the box for the running back to deal with. So even that action right there with the threat, let's just say hey man, this is a straight call. This isn't even a zone read. We're just going to look like it. You keep that guy out the box, which makes it easier for the offensive line to block, makes it easier for the running back to hit gaps. So everything he brings to the table, he deserves to get paid. And yes, he needs to clean up the passing game in the intermediate routes, because the long ball is there, the out route is there, but it's those passes across the middle that he needs to clean up on. And, I think he can do it. And ultimately, I think what's going to happen is, I think that Baker is going to get a contract signed next season with the north of $40 million. I think that Lamar is headed to a Dak type of situation where he's going to get, almost said red shirted,
the fifth year franchise tag. Yeah,
he's going to get a franchise tag and then eventually go ahead and get his big payday.
My thing is this, and I said on Friday, which quarterback has more leverage heading into their negotiations? I actually said Baker, just because the Browns were nothing until he got there. And there's no history of the Browns finding a quarterback to win with before. So they're almost going to get, Baker almost gets the advantage of, I have a poverty franchise that hasn't tasted, success.
That was my argument with Josh Allen.
Both of them.
Quarterback since Jim
Kelly. And with the Ravens, they've won Super Bowls in the last 2 decades with Dilfer and Joe Flacco.
Flacco.
So what they're saying is okay, we have this extremely talented quarterback who has a lot of flaws throwing the ball. Do we really need to overpay for all those flat overpaid? Do we really need to pay this much for a quarterback that can't throw the ball? Like, we've proven we could win Super Bowls with less talented quarterbacks, so we don't have to give you anything. Like, we were a playoff team before you. We'll continue being a playoff franchise moving forward, even though Lamar saved their season that year. But again, everyone has faith in the Ravens to turn it around. They've done it so many times over the last 2 decades, to where the Browns, they don't know when their next meal, they're like, they have to be desperate for that hot meal because they don't know when their next hot meal is coming. The Ravens are like, yeah, we like you. We know we can win with you, but there's also a lot of flaws that long-term, that one's like, he has an injury like Joe Burrow and he comes back. Like Joe Burrow, we know he could throw the ball. We know what he could do with that, with his arm. And Joe Burrow, if he can't make plays with his legs, that's fine. Joe Mixon, we gave you a lot of money to take care of that part of this for you. But when Lamar is your running back more so than your passer, that's where now you've limited yourself, and that will be brought up in negotiations. That's why this year, being able to pass, that's key. Kev, 188 passing yards a game last year. Like, if Baker had that, holy moly. And that's even if he had 188 passing yards a game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, we still wouldn't allow it to happen. And Lamar averages has 1,000 rushing yards season, but you can't throw 188 yards a game. Like, that's unacceptable. And no one else would get the benefit of the doubt if they didn't have weapons. So, like, that's the thing. This is going to be interesting. I can't, like, Josh Allen, okay, whatever. The Bills are boring, whatever. Browns and Ravens, buckle up. Okay, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll get to your Facebook reactions on the other side. Plus 518-1410 is the number to call in. We've got Reds baseball coming up here around the corner as well. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
For today, mostly cloudy skies and scattered thunder showers, a high of 85 degrees. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 75 degrees. And for your Tuesday, scattered thunder showers and a high of 90 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch free. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Wendy's only serves one kind of breakfast, a better one. And right now, the sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant, bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant, and honey butter chicken biscuit are all just 2 for $4. Nice.
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. Sign up by August 15th for a health plan. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email adam@sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6, leaving the light on for the three-dimensional soccer fan. Those cardboard cutouts were feeling a little flat. They didn't even yell goal for as long as possible when we finally scored. Well, while the cardboard you is packed away, the real you can head to the next road game. Motel 6 will help you get back into the action with clean, comfortable rooms at a great low rate. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Step up your career with an MBA from Ohio Dominican University. At Ohio Dominican, you can earn your MBA 100% online in just 16 months. With 7 high-demand concentrations, including data analytics, risk management, and now healthcare administration, an MBA from Ohio Dominican fits your professional goals. It's also one of the most affordable programs in the region. Classes start soon. Get started at ohiodominican.edu/MBA.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager, Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need service, we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 8 and Saturdays from 7 to 5. We proudly offer a state-of-the-art facility with factory-trained technicians, clean waiting room, and service department. Loaner cars are available during service and free alignment checks with any service. Be sure to stop in and ask for our $39.95 oil change special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with a booming voice that emphasizes all the main points. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
That part is super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow, here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code SKY, S-K-Y, for this amazing special.
You may have heard that Allstate has new low auto rates, but isn't it time to see for yourself? Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
False alarm.
Come on. All right, so the show went off the rails today. I feel like we had a good start. Try to give us a grade. I would give us an A in hour number 1, a C in 2, and I'll give us a B in hour 3. But hey, you know, it's training camp.
Hey man, you can get a scholarship with those grades.
Oof. Holy moly, camp for the Buckeyes are almost just under a weekend for them. You know what's funny, and again, the access at those. I mean, I just don't see the coverage coming out of those the way I do the NFL. I went to the Reds game yesterday, and when we were leaving, you know, Bengals Camp, so many people there. The Browns did their little scrimmage, their inter-squad scrimmage yesterday. Half of that stadium was full of fans. I mean, people are just, they want football. Right now, it doesn't matter. Like, I get it, Bengals. Like, when people like me are constantly pointing at all the negative, it's irritating. It's like, man, I just want to be excited. Can you just save the criticism for week 1 and 2 whenever it really happens? Like, for right now, let us enjoy this. I get it. But my thing is this. Me and Bengals fans have started this. The relationship's been rocky from the beginning, and it's not going to get better. So there is no let's start over, Kev. Like, the thing is when he had a good camp, when he had a good day at camp, everyone came at me. Oh, yeah. What do you have to say now? I have to say it's one day at camp. Like, relax. Like, just like I said, it was 1 week at camp for the bad. But yeah, so it's like, it's just going to be back and forth every time. And you know what? That's why I can't wait for the season to get here. That's why last year it went by like that. Like, it was within a blink of an eye. I couldn't believe it was over with. I was depressed for a while. I missed football, and yet we're right here. It's right here for us. So again, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Brad Mays says last year Lamar threw the ball like he went to the Cam Newton quarterback camp, ducks in the dirt. But he also says that where to go. Seems like the Browns and Ravens are playing chicken with each other on who will pay the quarterback first, hoping they pay less than the Josh Allen deal. That's why I asked earlier, Kev. I'm like, I can't tell if did Josh Allen fail because he went first? But I think he might end up with the most. They all have flaws. All 3 quarterbacks have flaws. The difference is Josh Allen was smart to get paid right out of the gate of his best season of the 3. Like Baker, that was his best season of the 3, but because the second season was so bad and because the start to the season was a little rough, he didn't, like, no one is saying, oh, based on that last 8 games of the season, you are right up there with Josh Allen. If Baker puts in, and I'm telling you, Kev, if Baker puts together a full season like he did the last 8, we're going to put him right up there with the other top 10 quarterbacks. I know there's hesitation to put him there. I'm fine with that. I had my hesitations last year. I don't have a problem with that. But I do believe that Baker and Lamar, if you ask me who I think should be paid next, look, Lamar has an MVP. He's won way more games. He's been more consistent. I just don't think I don't think either quarterback should be paid before week 1. I think that both teams have a lot to learn about their quarterback. I don't know what Baker's capable of. I don't know who the hell he is yet. I know what Lamar's capable of. I don't know who the hell he is as a passer yet. And the thing about Lamar is as his career goes on, he's going to slow down a tad. And can his arm make up? That's the one thing about Michael Vick. Michael Vick, when he came back to the Eagles, that playmaking ability was still there, but he also had playmaking ability with his arm. That's the one difference between the two, is that when the legs of Lamar or the legs of Vick were taken away, he still can hurt you with his arm. That's what we got to find out about Lamar, because Lamar's legs are better than Vick's, as crazy as that sounds. Like that is insane what we're watching and witnessing him do. So if he could complement that with an arm, he'd be better than Patrick Mahomes. That's the crazy thing, Kev. Like Patrick Mahomes, we're saying is already the best of all. Well, you know what I mean by that.
Right.
If Lamar all of a sudden could throw the ball,
they're going into what, year 5, right? Year 4.
Yep.
And that was Vick's. That was like Vick's year 10 when he went to Philadelphia. So think about that. Like, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about Michael Vick playing with Atlanta, getting his big contract with Atlanta, going to prison for 2 years, coming back to the NFL, then being a precision passer. Like, that's what I'm talking about, like, with time. Like, I know, like, nowadays we want the microwave society. We want dudes to be out the gate, just superstars out the gate. But it does take time. It does take time. Like, we talked about, like, with Josh Allen, like, he wasn't Josh Allen his first and second year that he was his past season, but in his, what I want to say, the second or third year, he got his team to the playoffs. He was a better player, and then he made this big impact plays last year and was a better passer and everything like that. They got him Stephon Diggs and everything like that. I mean, we look at Baker, he had a dip in year 2, and then he came back up year 3. Like, it's a development. It's a development for everybody. So, like, I'm just always been a person that says, like, we need to relax a taste. Like, just because this player is just coming out the gate on fire and leading his team to a Super Bowl in the second year doesn't necessarily mean that this player is a terrible football player, because, we talked about Lamar's accomplishments, as a personal accomplishment. He's won an MVP and everything like that. Some players haven't yet. We're guesstimating, or at least I am, that, all right, he'll develop more as a passer.
All right, Kev, don't mean to cut you off, because when I say you're done talking, you're done talking. With me, you tell me I'm done talking, I keep talking. We're out of time today. Makeup game between the Reds and the Cleveland Guardians, I guess, for the time being. No, not the roller derby team, the baseball team. Reds, Guardians. We got to get used to saying it, man. Reds, Guardians, makeup game from earlier in the season coming up, 6:10, the first pitch. We now hand you off to, of course, Tommy Thrawn, the Cowboy. Reds baseball next, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Well, hot grilled